Chapter 23. Lu Yiping was surprised to see Lu Peng, Lu Xiaoyu, and the others. What were they doing in the Big Dipper Empire? The Big Dipper Empire was quite far from the Lei Ke Sword School. At this time, the Lei Ke Sword School's sect master, Song Ning, stepped forward and respectfully greeted Lu Yiping. "Greetings, young master." Previously, he had been struck by sword demon Shilai's sword qi, and it had been Lu Yiping who had helped him cleanse it. Although Song Ning did not know Lu Yiping's true identity, he knew that even their ancestors, Yang Cheng and Chen Hong, were unusually respectful to Lu Yiping. Moreover, he guessed that sword demon Shilai's death had something to do with Lu Yiping. The other experts of the Lei Ke Sword School did not know about Lu Yiping, and they were surprised to see their sect master Song Ning respectfully greet Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping nodded, then asked Song Ning, "Why are you here in the Big Dipper Empire?" Song Ning quickly replied, "Young master, the 1st of next month is the Big Dipper Empire's 10,000th anniversary. The empire is celebrating, and we are here to participate in the celebration." The Big Dipper Empire's 10,000th anniversary celebration was a major event on Shinwu continent. Therefore, many imperial families, sect masters, and even some empire experts would come to celebrate. "Young master, are you here to participate in the celebration as well?" Song Ning asked carefully. Lu Yiping replied, "I'm here to buy something." Song Ning smiled. "What is it that you want to buy?" "Young master, please tell me to buy it. I know a manager from the Secret Chamber of Commerce." The Secret Chamber of Commerce was one of the largest chambers of commerce on Shinwu continent. However, Lu Yiping shook his head. "You can't afford what I want to buy." A true god's godhead was something that even Yang Cheng could not afford, let alone Song Ning. Even if he brought the entire Lei Ke Sword School's treasury with him, he could not afford it. A true god's godhead was not something that the Lei Ke Sword School could afford. Not to mention two true godheads. One of the Lei Ke Sword School's grand elders saw Lu Yiping's arrogant tone and couldn't help but say, "Kid, your tone is too arrogant. Our sect master can't afford it." When Song Ning heard the Lei Ke Sword School's grand elder talk back to Lu Yiping, his face turned pale with fright. He slapped the Lei Ke Sword School's grand elder's face. "How dare you!" The experts from Lei Ke Sword School were shocked and they saw Song Ning's exasperated expression. It was as if she wanted to kill someone. They had never seen such a ferocious expression on their sect master's face. Just because the Grand Supreme Elder of Lei Ke Sword School talked back, their sect leader actually wanted to. "Why aren't you apologizing to Master Lu?" Song Ning glared at the Lei Ke Sword School's Grand Elder. The Lei Ke Sword School's Grand Elder also looked at Song Ning in a daze. His ears were ringing and his face was burning hot. It was obvious that Song Ning had used a lot of strength to slap him. Lu Yiping looked at the Lei Ke Sword School's Grand Elder and said indifferently, "Forget it, the ignorant are innocent." Song Ning felt as if he had been pardoned and thanked Lu Yiping profusely. Lu Yiping said, "Since you know the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's deacon, help me ask him if the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce has any true godheads for sale." Song Ning was stunned. The Lei Ke Sword School's Grand Elder and the others also looked at Lu Yiping in shock. Did this young man want to? Young noble wants to buy a true godhead? Song Ning swallowed his saliva and felt his heart trembling. Lu Yiping grunted, "I don't want the ordinary ones, I want the top ones." He wants the top true godhead. And he doesn't want the ordinary ones. Song Ning felt his heart trembling madly. "I want to buy too," Lu Yiping said again. Song Ning's trembling heart suddenly stopped. Two. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu also looked at Lu Yiping in shock. Although the two of them had spent several days with Lu Yiping, their knowledge of Lu Yiping was even less than Song Ning's. The crowd quieted down. No one from the Lei Ke Sword School dared to speak. After a long time, Song Ning stammered, "Young noble, we plan to find a hotel to stay for a few days. If young noble doesn't have a place to stay, would you like to stay with us? He then looked at Lu Yiping nervously. All right. Lu Yiping pondered for a moment before saying. Hearing Lu Yiping's agreement, Song Ning was overjoyed. Thus, Lu Yiping and the Lei Ke Sword School students looked for a hotel. Seeing the crowded streets, Lu Yiping put away the war chariot. How's your practice of the Azura sword skill? Lu Yiping asked Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu. Lu Peng quickly answered, replying to young noble, we've been practicing day and night for more than a month, and we've already reached the 19th move. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me. Lu Yiping said. Thank you, young noble. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu quickly expressed their gratitude. Watching this, Song Ning was naturally envious. Half an hour later, Song Ning's forehead was dripping with sweat from anxiety. Although there was still half a month before the Big Dipper Empire's celebration, the Big Dipper Empire's hotels were bustling with activity. They had already checked out 6 hotels, and all the rooms were full. Young noble, why don't we go to the next hotel and ask? Song Ning asked Lu Yiping. No need. Lu Yiping shook his head, it's the same even if we continue to look. After a pause, he added, I have a place to stay, come with me. He just remembered that the Netherworld Devil Sect's ancestor, Su Xiu, had a residence in this city. Su Xiu rarely stayed here, and now, the residence was empty. Hearing Lu Yiping say that he had a place to stay, Song Ning was surprised. However, he didn't dare to ask, and followed Lu Yiping with the Lei Ke Sword School students to Su Xiu's residence. As a late-stage True God Realm expert, the location of Su Xiu's residence was naturally excellent. It was located in the center of the Big Dipper Empire. However, when Lu Yiping's group was about to reach Su Xiu's residence, they saw a large group of people blocking Lu Yiping's path. These people were from the White Bone Gate. There were 70 to 80 people in total. Seeing these people, Song Ning was shocked. White Bone Gate. At this time, Miao Yan from the White Bone Gate walked out. Looking at Lu Yiping, she sneered, so, you're from the Limitless Empire's Lei Ke Sword School. She then turned to one of the old men and said, Master, it's this person's subordinate who killed junior brother Chen. Wang Lianshan walked out, looking at Lu Yiping and the 4 people behind Lu Yiping, and said coldly, you killed my disciple and destroyed several thousand of my sect's living corpses. Tell me, how do you want to settle this matter? Lu Yiping was nonchalant, settle. Then he smiled, how do you want to settle this? Seeing Lu Yiping's playful smile, Wang Lianshan's face sank, since you're from the Lei Ke Sword School, I'll give the Lei Ke Sword School some face. Your subordinate killed my disciple, a life for a life. I only want his life. Moreover, you've destroyed several thousand of my sect's living corpses. You need to compensate me with 1 million high-grade spirit stones. Chapter 24. Song Ning frowned when he heard Wang Baixing's demand. Spirit stones were categorized into low, medium, high, and supreme grade. Above supreme grade were divine grade spirit stones. 1 million high-grade spirit stones could be exchanged for 100 million medium-grade spirit stones. If they were exchanged for low-grade spirit stones, it would be 10 billion. Even for the Lei Ke Sword School, 10 billion low-grade spirit stones was a huge sum. Moreover, refining living corpses didn't cost much. Wang Baixing's demand for 1 million high-grade spirit stones was an exorbitant price. Lu Yiping chuckled when he heard Wang Baixing's demand, I have 1 million high-grade spirit stones, but I won't give you a single copper coin. Wang Baixing's face turned gloomy. As for my subordinates' lives, if you have the ability, you can come and take them. Lu Yiping added. Zhang Jin stepped forward. Wang Baixing's eyes were bloodshot when he heard Zhang Jin's words. He chuckled, you really think we won't dare to kill you inside the Big Dipper Imperial capital? Fighting was prohibited in an imperial city like the Big Dipper Imperial capital, not to mention that the Big Dipper Empire's 10,000th anniversary celebration was approaching. At this point, Wang Lushan suddenly shouted, attack. Kill the 5 of them. In an instant, more than 40 Bone Gate experts rushed out from behind Wang Baisheng. More than 40 people charged at Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, Wei Bing, Chen Yongyuan, and Lu Yiping. More than half of the 40 people were Celestial Realm experts. Above life seizing was the Legendary Realm, Celestial Realm, Ancient Emperor, and Emperor Realm experts. Every Celestial Realm expert was extremely difficult to cultivate. Once a Celestial Realm expert stepped into the Celestial Realm, they would be entrusted with important tasks by their sect. In the Everlasting Dynasty, a Celestial Realm expert could be appointed as the lord of a city, overseeing 100,000 soldiers. Apart from these 20 Celestial Realm experts, the rest were all Legend 10th stage experts. More than 40 people attacked at the same time. Their fists whistled, forming a terrifying hurricane. Inside the hurricane, a shocking amount of black gas roiled. This black gas was the black corpse chi in the Bone Gate's true essence after cultivating the Bone Gate's cultivation technique. Seeing this, the surrounding disciples and experts hurriedly retreated. Zhang Jin did not even look at the terrifying fist force hurricane that was sweeping over. Instead, he slapped out with his claw and a black handprint appeared in midair. The black handprint exuded a frighteningly cold aura. The surroundings suddenly seemed to have fallen into a land of extreme cold. Everyone felt like their blood was about to freeze. Under the horrified gazes of the White Bone Sect's experts, a mountain-like black handprint suddenly fell down. In the blink of an eye, those White Bone Gate experts were pressed into the ground by the black handprint. The streets were abnormally sturdy, and the floor tiles made of fine granite were all blasted away. Everyone looked over and couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. The 40 or so White Bone Sect experts had all turned into a pile of flesh and blood, smashed into a big meat patty. On the street, there was a shocking giant handprint. Everyone was stunned. The White Bone School had more than 40 experts. Among them, more than 20 of them were at the Celestial Realm, and more than 20 of them were at the 10th stage of the Legendary Realm. It had completely disappeared. All that was left was a large meat patty. Miao Yen stared blankly at the White Bone Sect's experts who had been reduced to ashes. Her mind was blank. Wang Lanshan and the other White Bone Sect's experts were also stunned. You! Wang Lanshan looked at Zhang Jin in horror. The blue-robed young man's subordinate was actually this strong. Was it the Ancient Emperor? Even the Ancient Emperor might not have such terrifying strength. Then? An Emperor. An Emperor Realm expert. After Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and the other two had merged with Wu Mo's body, they had been consuming the true Divinity Realm gold pellets refined by the Yellow Springs Devil Sect's ancestor, Su Xiu, every day. The strength of their physique and strength had reached an astonishing level. Not to mention Celestial Realm experts, even Divine Spirit Realm experts couldn't withstand a single punch from Zhang Jin and the other 3. Just now, Zhang Jin had only used a small portion of his strength. In his fear, Wang Chishan took a deep breath and restrained his trembling hands. Just as Wang Lanshan was about to retreat, kill. Lu Yiping's indifferent voice sounded. Zhang Jin immediately moved. Before Wang Lanshan could react, he was hit by a terrifying force. Zhang Jin's body swayed continuously. After a few breaths, he stopped. When he stopped, Wang Lanshan, who was the first to be hit, exploded. Then, the remaining White Bone Sect's experts exploded one after another. Even Miao Yen was no exception. The smell of blood filled the air. Let's go. Lu Yiping said to Zhang Jin without sparing a glance at Wang Lanshan and the others' corpses. However, just as Lu Yiping's group was about to leave, the ground shook. Troops of the Big Dipper Empire's army marched over. These were the Big Dipper Empire's soldiers. Their bodies emitted a shocking aura, and the weakest among them was actually a Legendary Realm expert. Moreover, the commander was an Emperor Realm expert. When the Big Dipper Empire's army arrived, they surrounded Lu Yiping's group. The commander glanced at the blood stains around him and looked coldly at Lu Yiping. ignoring my Big Dipper Empire's laws, fighting in the imperial capital. Take them all down. However, just as the Big Dipper Empire's soldiers were about to make a move, Lu Yiping took out a token and threw it to the commander. When the commander caught the token, his expression changed drastically. This token belonged to the Yellow Springs Devil Sex ancestor, Su Xiu. The Big Dipper Empire's commander looked at the token and his expression changed. However, he did not make a move in the end. Instead, he took out a communication talisman and crushed it. It seemed like he was reporting to the Big Dipper Empire's higher-ups. A while later, after receiving the order from the higher-ups, the Big Dipper Empire's commander threw the token back to Lu Yiping and said coldly, "If you do this again, I won't let you off so easily." Then, he led the Big Dipper Empire's army and left. Song Ning and the other experts from the Lei Ke Sword School heaved a sigh of relief when they saw the Big Dipper Empire's army leaving. When the Big Dipper Empire's commander was about to make a move, everyone was so scared that they broke out in cold sweat. However, Song Ning and the others were very curious. What kind of token did Lu Yiping use to make the Big Dipper Empire not pursue the matter? Looking at the Big Dipper Empire's army leaving, Lu Yiping's expression remained unchanged. Originally, he had only thought of using the Yellow Springs Devil Sex ancestor Su Xiu's token on the spur of the moment. He didn't expect the effect to be so good. Of course, if it didn't work, he would have to let Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and the other two take action. Let's go. After the Big Dipper Empire's army left, Lu Yiping said indifferently. Then, he headed towards Su Xiu's residence with Song Ning and the others. A few moments later, Song Ning and the others were stunned when they saw the majestic mansion that covered an area of at least 100 acres. Chapter 25. In the Big Dipper Empire's imperial capital, every inch of land was worth its weight in gold. Even a small shop in the most remote part of the empire was extremely expensive, not to mention a huge mansion like the one in the center of the empire. A mansion like this was worth at least 100 million. Moreover, it was made of high-grade spirit stones. The mansion was protected by Su Xiu's grand formation. Without a token, even a peak late-stage True God Realm expert wouldn't be able to open it. Although these restrictions were useless to Lu Yiping still took out Su Mei's token and opened the mansion's restrictions. He then walked in with the group. The spiritual energy in the mansion was overwhelming. Song Ning and the others discovered that the wooden pillars in the mansion were all made of rare golden Nanmu spiritual wood. As for the stone bricks on the ground, every single one of them was made of star stones. The courtyard was filled with greenery and fragrant flowers. Even the flowers and plants were all rare species. The pond was filled with 9 suns spiritual water. The 9 suns spiritual water was filled with traces of 9 suns spiritual energy. Staying in the mansion made one feel warm and comfortable. Behind the mansion was a large garden. The herbs planted inside were at least 50,000 years old. Just these spiritual herbs alone were worth more than this mansion. Song Ning and the other experts of the Lei Ke Sword School were amazed. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu felt like they had entered a heavenly palace. On the other hand, Lu Yiping was calm. The divine herbs in the holy forest, even the worst of them, were 10,000 times better than the ones here. Then, Lu Yiping let Song Ning and the others choose their own rooms to stay in. There were close to 100 rooms in the mansion. This time, more than 40 people from the Lei Ke Sword School came, so the rooms were more than enough. While Lu Yiping and the others were staying in Su Xiu's mansion, inside the Big Dipper Empire's imperial palace, the Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian's eyes flickered as he listened to Qin Yuan's report. After Qin Yuan finished his report, Zhou Dingtian muttered, "What do you think is the relationship between this young man and the Yellow Springs Devil Sex ancestor Su Xiu? Could he be Su Xiu's personal disciple?" Qin Yuan hurriedly replied, "I can't answer that. Since that young man has Su Xiu's token, his relationship with Su Xiu must not be shallow. Even if he isn't Su Xiu's disciple, he should be Su Xiu's junior. As for his relationship with the Lei Ke Sword School, I've already checked. He was the one who pulled out the crimson flame sword a while ago. Zhou Dingtian was surprised. Oh, he pulled out the scarlet flame sword. Many geniuses from various empires on the Shinwu continent had tried to pull out the scarlet flame sword, but none of them had been able to do so. Yes, and I found out that when the sword devil Shilai was killed, he happened to be at the Lei Kei sword school, Chen Yuan added. Zhou Dingtian was surprised again. Are you saying that the sword demon Shilai was most likely killed by the 4 guards around him? This subordinate speculates that this should be the case, Chen Yuan said respectfully. Zhou Dingtian pondered, since those 4 guards were able to kill sword demon Shilai, it seems like their strength isn't weaker than divine spirit realm experts. Did Su Xiu send them to protect him? At night, the night was like water. Lu Yiping sat cross-legged in his room as he circulated the longevity art. The longevity art had a total of 49 stages. It was one of the techniques recorded in the Fortune Jade Disc. After he had left the sacred forest, he had broken through to the 49th stage. As he circulated the 49th stage of the longevity art, golden lotuses suddenly appeared on the ground, and auspicious chi fell from the void. There was an auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head, and above the cloud was an object. It was actually a small jade-colored disc. This was the Grand Mist treasure, the Fortune Jade Disc. However, it was not complete, and it was only a small piece. Around Lu Yiping's body, great Daos continuously twined and emitted a mysterious radiance. These great Daos included the life and death Great Tao, the Yin-Yang Great Tao, the 5 elements Great Tao, and even the reincarnation Great Tao. There were a total of 1,000 great Daos. In ancient times, the master of myriad gods had only cultivated 99 great Daos. However, Lu Yiping now had 1,000 great Daos. Of course, the strength of the two could not be calculated by 10 times. The next day, Lu Yiping stopped practicing the longevity art. The auspicious cloud hovered above his head, and the Fortune Jade Disc fell into his hand. I wonder where the other pieces of the Fortune Jade Disc are. Lu Yiping thought to himself as he looked at the small piece of the Fortune Jade Disc in his hand. The complete Fortune Jade Disc had 24 pieces, and each piece recorded 3,000 great Daos. This small piece of Fortune Jade Disc was the most important piece among the 24 pieces, and it recorded 1,000 great Daos. Moreover, it was the complete set of 1,000 great Daos and the longevity art. At this time, there was a knock on the door. Lu Yiping put the Fortune Jade Disc into his body and said, "Come in." Song Ning pushed the door open and entered. He cautiously approached Lu Yiping and said respectfully, "Young master, I've asked my friend from the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce. He said that their Chamber of Commerce is holding an auction next month, and they are auctioning a Dark Moon Godhead." Although the Dark Moon Godhead was not a rank 14 Supreme Godhead, it was still a rank 11 Godhead. "What time next month?" Lu Yiping asked. "Only one. The Big Dipper Empire's celebration is on the 1st of next month, and the auction is on the 2nd. Song Ning quickly answered, "Only one. I've already asked him to help me ask about the other Godhead, but Godheads are rarely auctioned." Lu Yiping nodded and looked at Song Ning. He took out a golden core from the Heaven and Earth Cauldron and handed it to Song Ning. "You've done well." Song Ning received the golden core and smelled the fragrance coming from it. He stuttered, "Golden Divine Spiritual Core." Then, he asked Lu Yiping in disbelief, "Young master, this is for me?" Lu Yiping laughed, "Of course it's for you, or me." Then, he added, "It's just a golden divine spiritual core, stand up." First, he had refined the sword devil Shilai, then the 6 dark demon hall grand elders in the black prison forest. Other than the ones he gave to Yang Cheng, Chen Hong, Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and the rest, he still had quite a number of golden divine spiritual cores. When Song Ning heard that Lu Yiping was really giving him the golden divine spiritual core, his body trembled with excitement. He kowtowed heavily to Lu Yiping. "Song Ning thanks young master for the golden divine spiritual core." Song Ning will never forget young master's kindness. Lu Yiping smiled at Song Ning's words and did not mind. He had Song Ning get up, and Song Ning came out from his room. The bright sunlight shone on Song Ning's face, warming him. "Master, the Big Dipper Empire's general outside is requesting an audience. It's the one from yesterday, saying that he's here on the Big Dipper Emperor's orders." At this time, Zhao Wen walked over and reported respectfully. "Oh, he's here on the Big Dipper Emperor's orders." Lu Yiping pondered. "Let him in, bring him to the main hall." Zhao Wen acknowledged respectfully and retreated. "Young master, did the Big Dipper Emperor send someone here because of yesterday's matter?" Song Ning asked nervously. "Probably not," Lu Yiping answered. The two of them walked towards the main hall, and when they arrived, they saw a middle-aged man clad in battle robes standing in the main hall. It was the high-ranking officer from yesterday. Chapter 26. Just yesterday, this general had wanted to capture Lu Yiping and the others, but now, he was smiling when he saw Lu Yiping walk over. "I am General Qin Yuan of the Beidou Empire. Greetings, Master Lu." Qin Yuan cupped his fists at Lu Yiping. Above generals were commanders. However, in the various empires, only divine spirit realm experts could become commanders. Qin Yuan was only a 7th-level Great Emperor. Of course, a 7th-level Great Emperor was still an influential figure in the Beidou Empire. Lu Yiping nodded and sat down. He picked up his teacup and asked, "What's the matter?" He didn't let the general sit down. Qin Yuan frowned, but when he thought about the Great Emperor's orders, he suppressed the unhappiness in his heart and said, "I'm here on the Great Emperor's orders to invite Master Lu to attend the celebration." He then took out a golden invitation. Song Ning stepped forward, took the golden invitation, and presented it to Lu Yiping. Qin Yuan smiled. "This invitation was personally written by our Great Emperor. For this celebration, our Great Emperor personally wrote 10 invitations, and Master Lu's invitation is one of them." He was afraid that Lu Yiping didn't know how precious this invitation was, so he added, "One of them is for Sir Yun Haitian, the Flora Empress." Song Ning's heart trembled when he heard these two names. He exclaimed, "Sir Yun Haitian, the Flora Empress. Yun Haitian, the Flora Empress." These two names were undoubtedly the two most famous people on Shinwu continent in the past 100 years. As long as one was a powerful force on Shinwu continent, they would definitely have heard of these two people. "Oh, Yun Haitian and the Flora Empress." Lu Yiping's expression remained the same. Although he had only been away for a month, he had heard of these two people. Yun Haitian had dual saint talents and 2 saint physiques. His attainments in both the sword and the zither were extremely high, and he was the young master of the Yun family, one of the 4 great families on Shinwu continent. He was also the youngest deity on Shinwu continent. The 100-Flower Empress was the empress of the 100-Flower Empire. There were hundreds of empires on the Shinwu continent, and the Baihua Empire was one of the 10 strongest empires on the continent. Not only was the 100-Flower Empress beautiful, but she was also single. Just like the Great Emperor of the Big Dipper Empire, Zhou Dingtian, she was the founding Great Emperor of the 100-Flower Empire. In other words, the 100-Flower Empire was founded by the 100-Flower Empress herself, not by her father. That's right, it's young Master Yun Haitian and Empress 100 Flowers. Qin Yuan smiled. All of a sudden, Lu Yiping asked, "Your emperor has a high-grade godhead?" Qin Yuan was stunned. Clearly, he had not expected Lu Yiping to suddenly ask such a question. "High-class godhead? All right. Go back and tell your emperor that I will participate," Lu Yiping said. Qin Yuan smiled, "Then at that time, I'll be waiting for Master Lu's arrival." He then took his leave. After Qin Yuan left, Song Ning smiled at Lu Yiping and said, "Young master, I didn't expect the Big Dipper Emperor to personally write an invitation for General Qin Yuan to deliver it to you. This was a supreme honor. Even many divine spirit realm experts did not have such an honor." Although the Lei Ke Sword School had also received an invitation to the celebration, the Lei Ke Sword School's invitation was different from Lu Yiping's, as it had been written by an expert from the Big Dipper Empire's department responsible for sending out invitations. Lu Yiping opened the invitation and saw that there weren't many words written on it. There were only a dozen or so words, but they were written in a flamboyant and domineering style. It was as if an emperor had descended upon the world. The handwriting is only so, Lu Yiping commented after taking a look. Although the Big Dipper Empire had only been established for 10,000 years, it had still been able to become the #1 empire on the Xinwu continent. This showed that Zhou Dingtian was not simple. Although Yun Haitian and Empress Hundred Flowers were famous throughout the Xinwu continent, they still paled in comparison to Zhou Dingtian. Zhou Dingtian's legendary deeds were too numerous to count. However, Lu Yiping also knew that Zhou Dingtian had not invited him because he felt that he was comparable to Yun Haitian or Empress Hundred Flowers, but because of the netherworld devil sect Su Xiu. It seemed that Zhou Dingtian had mistaken him for Su Xiu's disciple or nephew. When Song Ning heard Lu Yiping say that Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian's handwriting was only so, he broke out in cold sweat. He stole a glance and saw that the words on the invitation were filled with the aura of an emperor descending upon the world. There was also an astonishing sword qi that seemed to soar into the sky. Clearly, these simple words contained a supreme sword Dao. Song Ning swallowed hard. This was only so. Song Ning then bowed respectfully to Lu Yiping and left the room. He couldn't wait to refine the god's spiritual golden pill. He was already at the peak of the 10th level of the ancient sovereign realm, and he had been stuck there for many years. Even if this gold divine pill could not help him break through to the emperor realm, it should be able to help him touch the threshold. When Song Ning returned to his room to cultivate, Lu Yiping went to Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu's courtyard. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu were practicing the Azura sword skill, sparring with each other. Sword qi filled the courtyard. However, the sword qi only circled around the courtyard and did not leak out. Compared to a month ago, when Lu Yiping had first met them, their attainments in the Azura sword skill had risen by more than a level. It was clear that they had put in a lot of effort in the past month. Young master, Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu stopped cultivating when they saw Lu Yiping. They hurried over and greeted him respectfully. You've cultivated the Azura sword skill well. Lu Yiping smiled. Lu Peng scratched his head and said embarrassedly, I'm too stupid. I can't cultivate the 20th move of the Azura sword skill. Lu Yiping shook his head, it's not that you're stupid. From the 20th move onwards, the Azura sword skill requires a large amount of true essence to cultivate. Your cultivation realm is too low. Saying this, he took out 2 true god gold pellets refined by Su Xiu and flicked them. The 2 true god gold pellets passed through their bodies and entered their dantian. Just now, there were 2 true god golden cores. Now, I will fuse these 2 true god golden cores into your dantian. In the future, when you cultivate, the medicinal power of these true god golden cores will slowly dissipate and fuse into your dantian, transforming into your true essence and helping you to quickly increase your cultivation. Lu Yiping said. True god gold pellets. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu stuttered. Both of them were stupefied. True god. Before the Azura's Gate was destroyed, the Azura's Gate Patriarch wasn't even an ancient emperor. True God was an existence they didn't even dare to imagine. Cultivate well. Lu Yiping said, in the future, rebuild the Azura's Gate. After all, the Azura's Gate was founded by his good friend. He didn't want the Azura's Gate to be destroyed just like that. Many thanks for young master's kindness. Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu woke up from their daze and prostrated themselves on the ground. Lu Peng, this big man, was crying. Lu Yiping told them to get up, not wanting to disturb their cultivation, and left the yard. Outside the yard, Lu Yiping brought Taurus Longjiao, Zhang Jin, and the rest out of the residence for a stroll. Not long after they left the residence, they ran into experts from the Limitless Dynasty, Shao family, and Jing family. Xiao Changfeng, Princess Tai Yan, and Zheng Yu were riding side by side on their mounts, chatting with each other, laughing and chatting. Chapter 27. The Taurus war chariot was very eye-catching, especially under the sunlight. Xiao Changfeng, Princess Tai Yan, Zheng Yu, and the rest saw the war chariot one after another. Princess Tai Yan and Zheng Yu were surprised to see the war chariot. They had not expected to run into Lu Yiping in the Big Dipper Empire. "It's you." Xiao Changfeng's eyes turned cold when he saw Lu Yiping. He was obviously more agitated than Princess Tai Yan and Zheng Yu. The Xiao family's experts behind Xiao Changfeng also glared at Lu Yiping. However, the Xiao family's experts considered the Big Dipper Empire's prohibition against betting. Thus, although they wanted to kill Lu Yiping, no one dared to do so. Since the Big Dipper Empire had covered up yesterday's incident, the Limitless Dynasty, Xiao family, and Zheng family did not know about it. At this time, Princess Tai Yan stepped forward and said to Lu Yiping, "I didn't expect to run into Master Lu here." "Master Lu, are you also here to participate in the Big Dipper Empire's celebration?" Xiao Changfeng sneered, "How can anyone participate in the Big Dipper Empire's celebration? The celebration rules state that only Golden Core Realm experts and above can enter the palace." The Big Dipper Empire had sent out invitations to various experts. Each invitation allowed 10 people to enter the palace, but the disciples had to be at least Golden Core Realm. Xiao Changfeng had just broken through to the Golden Core Realm, and he had come with his father to participate in the celebration. Golden Core. Taurus Longjiao laughed. Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, Wei Bing, and Qin Yongyuan also laughed. Even Lu Yiping shook his head with a smile. He did not have a trace of true essence, internal force, or even God force in his body. It was no wonder that Xiao Changfeng and the rest thought that he was immortal. Not to mention Xiao Changfeng, even Zhou Dingtian, Wan Wudi, and Jiang Yuheng, who were the strongest in this world, would not be able to see through his true body. Wan Wudi was the master of the Xinwu continent and the ancestor of the Xinwu continent's #1 family. Jiang Yuheng was the ancestor of the Tai sect and the strongest person in the Hengyuan plain. Xiao Changfeng's face sank when he saw Taurus Longjiao, Zhang Jin, and the rest laughing. Suddenly, a few people walked over from afar. Princess Tai Yan. One of the young men saw Princess Tai Yan and said happily. Princess Tai Yan was surprised to see who it was. She smiled sweetly and said, "So it's Mr. Yun Guohua." Hearing this, Xiao Changfeng and Zheng Yu were dumbfounded. Yun Guohua. A direct descendant of the Yun family's Yun Haitian. Although he was only a few years older than them, he was already a life-sizer. His talent was close to Yun Haitians, and he was known as the most talented disciple of the Yun family's younger generation. He was also one of the most talented disciples of the Big Dipper Empire's younger generation. "We are the Limitless Dynasty's Xiao clans Xiao Changfeng and Zheng clans Zheng Yu. We greet young Master Yun Guohua." Xiao Changfeng and Zheng Yu hurriedly stepped forward and greeted. Yun Guohua nodded slightly at the two of them, then walked up to Princess Tai Yan and asked with a smile, "Princess Tai Yan, when did you arrive at the imperial capital?" Princess Tai Yan smiled and said, "We also just arrived today." Lu Yiping said to Taurus Longjiao, "Let's go to the secret chamber of commerce." The secret chamber of commerce bought and sold items, but they could also ask for information. Lu Yin wanted to ask them for some information. When Princess Tai Yan saw that Lu Yiping was about to leave, she said, "Master Lu, can I take a look at that scarlet flame sword?" Scarlet flame sword. Yun Guohua and the other Yun family experts behind him all looked at Lu Yiping. However, Lu Yiping turned a deaf ear to him. The war chariot continued forward. Princess Tai Yan was stunned. At this time, one of the Yun family experts flashed and blocked the path of the war chariot. He stared at Lu Yiping with a burning gaze and asked, "Yang Dong's scarlet flame sword is with you? You were the one who pulled out the scarlet flame sword." News of sword god Yang Dong's scarlet flame sword being pulled out had spread throughout the Xinwu continent over the past month. This news shocked and surprised many of the experts from the empires and dynasties. Lu Yiping glanced at the Yun family expert in the middle of the road and said indifferently, "If you scram now, you still have time." Princess Tai Yan, Yun Guohua, Shao Changfeng, Zheng Yu, and the rest were all stunned. Shao Changfeng sneered. "This Lu kid is simply courting death. He actually dares to be so arrogant in front of an expert from the Yun family." The experts of the Yun family who were with Yun Guohua were all wearing the brocade robes of the Yun family's direct disciples. These direct disciples of the Yun family were the younger generation who had received important training from the Yun family. Their status was far from what the Yun family's side branches and outer family disciples could compare to. The Yun family expert was stunned, as he had not expected Lu Yiping to directly tell him to scram. His face suddenly sank. "What did you just say?" He coldly stared at Lu Yiping. "Brat, do you know who you are talking to?" However, just as he finished speaking, Taurus Longjiao suddenly kicked out. Before the Yun family expert could react, he was kicked high into the air by Taurus Longjiao. Everyone looked over and saw that the Yun family expert had disappeared into the clouds. "I told you to scram, so why are you still being so long-winded?" Taurus Longjiao retracted his leg. Everyone was stunned, and they looked up into the sky in disbelief. They waited for a while, but the Yun family expert still did not descend. Shao Changfeng, Zheng Yu, and the rest swallowed hard. If these direct disciples of the Yun family were with Yun Guohua, then they should not be any weaker than him. They should also be life seizers. But now, everyone was silent as the war chariot continued forward. Yun Guohua's eyes flashed coldly, and he clenched his fists tightly. However, in the end, he did not stop the war chariot. "If there's a next time, you'll end up like him." Lu Yiping's indifferent voice rang out. Everyone was stunned. They had no idea who Lu Yiping was talking to. Princess Tai Yan's heart sank. Was he talking to her? When Yun Guohua had come over, she had suddenly come up with a plan. Princess Tai Yan's eyes glittered as she watched the war chariot disappear into the distance. She refused to believe that Lu Yiping was a mortal with a mortal body. Unfortunately, she had not seen him make a move. And then there was that bull. Its strength was beyond her imagination. That said, news of the Crimson Flame sword would soon spread. She refused to believe that she wouldn't see Lu Yiping make a move. Some time after Lu Yiping left, the Yun family expert finally fell from the sky, landing on the city walls of the Big Dipper Empire. The patrolling Big Dipper Empire soldiers were scared out of their wits. When Yun Guohua carried the corpse of the Yun family's direct descendant back to the experts of the Yun family, the experts of the Yun family looked at the disciple who had fallen from the sky. His face was so disfigured that even his own mother wouldn't be able to recognize him. Their faces turned cold. Prime Elder Yun Xingyun looked at his grandson's corpse, and couldn't suppress the killing intent in his heart. Gritting his teeth, he said, "Who did this?" "His name is Lu Yiping," Yun Guohua said. "He's the one who pulled out Yang Dong's Crimson Flame sword." The Yun clan experts were stunned. "Where is he now?" Yun Xingyun asked, his expression grim. "He went to the Heavenly Secret Consortium," Yun Guohua said. "He should still be there." Chapter 28. Indifferent, Yun Xingyun said, "I'll go to the secret chamber of commerce right now." But just as he was about to leave, the Yun family's grand elder, Yun Cheng, said, "Someone fought in the imperial capital yesterday." The Big Dipper Emperor was furious, and he ordered that anyone who dares to fight in the capital will be arrested and punished, even if they are divine spirit realm experts. Now, the Empire's celebration is approaching. If we fight in the imperial capital, I'm afraid we'll anger Zhou Dingtian. I think we should delay this matter. That kid can't escape anyway. It won't be too late for us to act after the Empire's celebration. Another Yun family grand elder said, "That kid's surname is Lu. Could he be from the Lu family? We need to investigate this matter thoroughly." The Lu family. Yun Xingyun's expression changed. Although the Lu family's main residence was not on the Xinwu continent, it was not weak. Even the Big Dipper Empire did not dare provoke such a colossus. The young master went to the 100 Blossom Empress Palace. Why don't we wait for him to come back before making a decision? Yun Qing asked. Yun Xingyun's expression changed, but he nodded in the end. At this time, Lu Yiping and the others arrived at the Secret Chamber of Commerce. The Secret Chamber of Commerce was one of the largest chambers of commerce on the Xinwu continent, and it was decorated in an imposing manner. The hall was very large, at least 1,000 square meters. People were coming and going, and there were many people doing business. When Lu Yiping and the others arrived, a disciple of the Secret Chamber of Commerce greeted them and asked what Lu Yiping wanted to buy or sell. Lu Yiping said, "Where's your manager? I want your Chamber of Commerce to gather some information for me." He then took out a spirit stone and gave it to the disciple. The disciple looked at the spirit stone in his hand and was shocked. He stammered, divine grade spirit stone." Everyone in the hall turned to look at him. Divine grade spirit stones were extremely rare. Even the super chambers of commerce on the Hengyuan plain usually used high-grade or top-grade spirit stones for business. Therefore, when everyone saw that Lu Yiping actually used a divine-grade spirit stone to reward that disciple, they were all shocked. The Chamber of Commerce's disciple calmed down and said excitedly, "Young master, please come with me." Then, he led Lu Yiping and the others to the inner hall of the Chamber of Commerce, which was dedicated to gathering information. Soon, a steward of the Chamber of Commerce came to receive Lu Yiping and politely asked him what information he wanted to inquire about. Lu Yiping said, 40,000 years ago, sword god Yang Dong received a message from a mysterious person and entered the battlefield of the gods. I want to know who sent that message. If they knew who the mysterious man was, they might know who had set up the 9 ultimate gods' burial array. When the steward heard this, his expression became awkward. Because too much time had passed, it had already been over 40,000 years. This kind of thing was very difficult to find out, and it required too much manpower. Young master, our Chamber of Commerce is unable to accept this mission. He shook his head. At this time, Lu Yiping took out a long sword and said, "As long as you help me find out, this sword will be your reward." Divine artifact. The Chamber of Commerce's steward looked at the long sword with a burning gaze, and his breathing became irregular. At the same time, he was shocked. He didn't expect this young man to take out a divine artifact. Moreover, he used a divine artifact as a reward. "Young master, please wait for a moment. I will report this to my superior," the steward said and went out for a while. A while later, the steward returned with an additional middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was the Big Dipper branch's president, Sun Yushuan. When Sun Yushuan received the steward's report, he was shocked. After entering, he looked at Lu Yiping and Zhang Jin's group of 4 with bewilderment. He had been the Big Dipper branch's president for many years, but this was the first time he encountered someone who used a divine artifact as a reward for information. Even some true God Realm experts might not have a divine artifact, which showed how rare divine artifacts were. Of course, as the Big Dipper branch's president, he didn't have a divine artifact. This one is the Big Dipper branch's president, Sun Yushuan. "May I know young master's name?" Sun Yushuan asked politely. Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping didn't conceal his identity. Lu Yiping. Could he be from the Lu family? Sun Lishuan's thoughts raced, and he smiled, "So, it's Master Lu." His gaze fell on the long sword on the table. This long sword looked familiar to him, but he couldn't remember where he had seen it. He said to Lu Yiping, "Master Lu, sword god Yang Dong's disappearance has become a mystery. Many experts tried to investigate this matter, but they came up empty-handed. Now that it's been so many years, it's even harder to investigate. I need to report this matter to my superior." Lu Yiping nodded. Sun Lishuan took out his communication talisman and contacted the Big Dipper branch's headquarters. Not long after, they received a reply from the headquarters. Sun Lishuan pondered for a moment and said to Lu Yiping, "Our president said that we can accept the mission, but we will only help you gather information for a year. After a year, whether or not we find anything, this divine artifact will be ours. Moreover, this divine artifact needs to be given to us first." Lu Yiping didn't even think about it, and said, "All right." Then he handed the long sword to the other party. It was just a divine artifact, he had plenty of them. Moreover, it was just a low-grade divine artifact. Moreover, this long sword belonged to Wu Mo. Lu Yiping had nothing else to do, so he left his contact information and left the Big Dipper branch's headquarters with Zhang Jin and the others. Sun Lishuan looked at Lu Yiping's back, his eyes filled with surprise. He didn't expect this young man to agree without thinking. In his eyes, divine artifacts seemed to be worthless playthings. "President, is this young man from the Lu family?" the steward from before asked in surprise. Sun Lishuan shook his head. "Lu family? Even the Lu family's young lord wouldn't be so generous." After leaving the Big Dipper branch, Lu Yiping strolled around for a while before returning to his residence with Taurus Longjiao. Night fell. Inside a luxurious residence in the Big Dipper Imperial City, Yun Haitian, clad in silver robes, was sitting on the main seat of the main hall. Yun Xingyun, Yun Cheng, and the other experts sat on both sides of the main hall. Yun Haitian looked at them, his expression solemn as he said, "That Lu Yiping, I sent someone to inquire about him today." Seeing Yun Haitian's solemn expression, the Yun family experts' hearts skipped a beat. Could this Lu Yiping really be a Lu family disciple? Yun Haitian said, "He should be Su Xiu's nephew." The Yun family experts were stunned, then their faces paled. Yun Xingyun's voice trembled, It's the Netherworld Devil Sect's Su Xiu." The Netherworld Devil Sect's ancestor, Su Xiu, cultivated the Netherworld Devil art. In the past, how many sects had he massacred? Just the number of divine spirit realm experts that died in his hands was in the triple digits. This Lu Yiping was actually this terrifying devil's nephew? "Young lord, is the news accurate?" Yun Xingyun asked while stuttering. Yun Haitian nodded, "It should be true. Yesterday, during the battle in the Imperial City, it was his bodyguards that killed 77 people from the White Bone Gate's Grand Elder Wang Lingshan." Everyone's hearts shook. Chapter 29. After his subordinates killed 77 people from the Wangbian Mountain, General Qin Yuan wanted to arrest him and interrogate him, but he took out a token instead. That token belongs to the Netherworld Devil Sect's Su Xiu. Yun Haitian added, "And the mansion he's staying in now belongs to Su Xiu. As for the 4 guards by his side, they should be in the divine spirit realm." The Yun family's experts were shocked hearing this. For divine spirit realm experts as guards? This Netherworld Devil Sect's Su Xiu actually sent 4 divine spirit realm experts to protect Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping's position in Su Xiu's heart was self-evident. No wonder Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian didn't arrest him and interrogate him. Yun family's Grand Elder Yun Cheng said as he glanced at Yun Xingyun. Fortunately, he stopped Yun Xingyun in the morning. Otherwise, who knows what would happen now? Yun Xingyun's face darkened. He didn't expect this Lu Yiping to be the nephew of the Netherworld Devil Sect's Su Xiu. Thinking of his grandson's tragic death, he sighed inwardly. Yun Guohua, who was standing in the corner of the hall, listened to Yun Haitian and the others' conversation. His face was pale, and cold sweat covered his body. Recalling the scene in the morning, he felt his soul trembling. Fortunately, it wasn't him who stopped the ox cart in the morning. Otherwise, he would have died in vain. Yun Haitian continued, "I also learned that Zhou Dingtian's great emperor personally wrote 10 invitations, and one of them was given to this Lu Yiping." Everyone in the Yun family felt their hearts skip a beat. Yun Haitian called Yun Guohua in front of him and said indifferent, "Don't go out for the next few days. Also, don't attend the Big Dipper Empire's celebration next month." Yun Guohua lowered his head and bowed respectfully. The next day, Princess Tai Yan, Xiao Changfeng, and Zhen Yu came to Yun Guohua's residence and told the steward their identities. When they wanted to visit Yun Guohua, the steward shook his head. "I'm sorry, our master has been grounded. He can't go out and see anyone." Grounded? Princess Tai Yan and the other two were shocked. Why? Xiao Changfeng couldn't help but ask. The butler shook his head. "I don't know the exact reason. It was Sir Yun Haitian who personally gave the order." Yun, Lord Yun Haitian. Hearing that Yun Haitian had personally ordered Yun Guohua to be grounded, the three of them were stunned. In the end, the three of them left in bewilderment. The three of them returned to their respective residences. Once Gong Taiyan returned to her residence, she was summoned by the Limitless Dynasty's old ancestor, Tai Wuji. "Ancestor wants to see me." Princess Tai Yan was astonished. Puzzled, she followed the Limitless Dynasty's inner palace expert to Tai Wuji's courtyard. As the ancestor of the Limitless Dynasty, Tai Wuji had also come to the Big Dipper Empire's celebration. After Princess Tai Yan arrived, she discovered that her father, Tai Hao, was also present. When Tai Wuji saw Princess Tai Yan, he smiled and said, "Tai Yan, Sect Master Song Ning and the experts from the Lei Kei Sword School also arrived yesterday. You should go and meet Sect Master Song Ning. After all, you are a disciple of the Lei Kei Sword School." Princess Tai Yan was puzzled. Asking her to visit Song Ning. Although she could be considered a disciple of the Lei Kei Sword School, her status as the Limitless Dynasty's princess was not lower than Song Ning's. There was no need for her to visit Song Ning, right? Seeing Princess Tai Yan's confusion, Tai Wuji smiled and said, "Sect Master Song Ning and the others are with young noble Lu Yiping. After you go over, you can ask Master Lu some questions about sword and fist techniques. You know Lu Yiping, right? He's the Scarlet Flame Sword, young noble Lu Yiping." Lu Yiping. Princess Tai Yan was dumbfounded. Judging from Tai Wuji's words, the reason why he wanted her to visit Song Ning was so that she could get in touch with Lu Yiping. But, why? "Ancestor, that Lu Yiping?" Princess Tai Yan asked in surprise. Tai Wuji nodded and smiled, "That's right. We just received news that Song Ning is the nephew of the Netherworld Devil Sect's old ancestor, Su Xiu." "What, the Netherworld Devil Sect's old devil Huang Quan, Su Xiu?" Princess Tai Yan's expression changed drastically. How could this be? This Lu Yiping was actually the nephew of the Netherworld Devil Sect's Su Xiu. Then, she suddenly thought of Yun Guohua. So, it was him. Although Tai Wuji was baffled by Princess Tai Yan's reaction, he did not think too much about it. He said, "Young noble Lu Yiping's identity has slowly spread. I'm guessing the Xiao family and Zheng family already know about it." At this time, inside the Xiao family's courtyard, Xiao Changfeng's body seemed to have been drained of energy. He slumped weakly on a chair, muttering to himself. Su Xiu's residence. Lu Yiping stood in the courtyard's pavilion, holding a large saber in his hand. The saber was 1 zhang long, and its body was a deep blue color, illuminating the entire courtyard. This saber was the sovereign of myriad gods' war saber. He had found it in the battlefield of gods after the sovereign of myriad gods fell. Back then, when he found this saber, it was stained with purple blood. "Master, the Xiao family's ancestor is kneeling outside. He brought Xiao Changfeng here and has already shattered his gold core and dantian. He said that Master can do whatever you want with him. He only asks that Master let the Xiao family go." Zhang Jin came in and reported respectfully to Lu Yiping. "Let him go." Lu Yiping said indifferently, "Tell him that I don't like people kneeling in front of my residence. Also, if anyone else asks for an audience during this time, don't come in and disturb me." Zhang Jin acknowledged respectfully and retreated. After Zhang Jin left, Lu Yiping put the sovereign of myriad gods' war saber into the cauldron of heaven and earth and started cultivating the longevity secret art. Although he had cultivated the longevity secret art to the last level, he had a feeling that the 49th level was not the end of the longevity secret art. There was still the 50th level. However, there was no mantra for the 50th level in the Fortune Jade Disc. In the following days, Lu Yiping stayed in the courtyard, not going anywhere. He cultivated the longevity secret art and comprehended the Grand Tao. In the blink of an eye, it was the end of the month. Tomorrow was the Big Dipper Empire's celebration. When Lu Yiping came out of the courtyard, he discovered that Song Ning had broken through to the Emperor realm. As for Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu, their progress was also shocking. Lu Peng was already in the 7th stage of Golden Core realm, and Lu Xiaoyu had not only entered the Divine Ability realm, but also the 5th stage. Not bad. Lu Yiping said to Song Ning. Song Ning was a little uneasy in front of Lu Yiping. He smiled and said, "If it weren't for young master, I don't know when I would have broken through." He paused for a moment, then said, "Young master, I heard that the Yin Ghost Sect's young sect master will also be attending the Big Dipper Empire's celebration tomorrow. The Wan family's young master Wan Hong will also be attending." Lu Yiping nodded. Although the Netherworld Devil Sect and Yin Ghost Sect were both evil sects, they were like fire and water. The relationship between the two sects was not good. The Netherworld Devil Sect's ancestor Su Xiao had killed many Yin Ghost Sect experts. As for the grudges between the Wan family and Su Xiao, it was a long story. "What about the Azura Gate that I asked you to investigate?" Lu Yiping asked. "We can't be sure, but there are some clues." Song Ning quickly replied, "The Azura Gate's patriarch and the others were killed by the Soaring Flower Gate's Grand Elder." Chapter 30. Oh, the Soaring Flower Gate. Lu Yiping was surprised. The Soaring Flower Gate was a powerful force in the 100 Flowers Empire. At the very least, it was much stronger than the Lei Kei Sword School. The current sect master of the Soaring Flower Gate was the younger sister of the 100 Flowers Empress. The younger sister of the 100 Flowers Empress had entered the Soaring Flower Gate at a young age and was later accepted as a disciple by the Soaring Flower Gate's ancestor. Through her own efforts, she climbed the ranks of the Soaring Flower Gate's sect master. Lu Yiping had obtained Su Xiao and Wu Mo's memories. Although he didn't know the Hengyuan plane like the back of his hand, he was still familiar with many forces. "Yes, it's the Soaring Flower Gate's Grand Elder Kujie," Song Ning said. "As for whether she was following the Soaring Flower Gate's sect master's orders, we still don't know. However, we found out that this Kujia has an unclear relationship with the Dark Demon Hall's ancestor, Yang Xiyuan." "Dark Demon Hall, Yang Xiyuan," Lu Yiping muttered. While Lu Yiping was asking Song Ning about the investigation of the Azura Gate, in a mansion somewhere in the imperial capital, the young lord of the Yin Ghost Sect, Hao Dan, was lying in the arms of a voluptuous maid. His skin was more supple than a woman's, and he was eating a peeled spirit fruit. "That Lu Yiping hasn't left his residence recently?" he asked elegantly. His subordinate quickly replied, "No. Ever since he went to the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce, he has been staying in his residence, refusing to see anyone." "What do you think is Lu Yiping's strength?" Hao Dan asked calmly. The subordinate pondered. "It's hard to say, but everyone who has seen Lu Yiping said that he has no true essence or god force." This subordinate guesses that he might be using a divine artifact to conceal his cultivation. Hao Dan said solemnly, 3,000 years ago, that Tang Xiaobai wore the robe of nothingness to conceal his cultivation. Could he have obtained Tang Xiaobai's robe of nothingness? Hearing Hao Dan mention Tang Xiaobai, Hao Dan's subordinates were all shocked. 3,000 years ago, Tang Xiaobai was born. She was neither righteous nor evil. She wore the robe of nothingness, and no one could see her cultivation level. She did everything she liked, and her cultivation level was extremely high. Countless experts from various sects had died in her hands, and even disciples from the 10 great superpowers had been killed. Later on, Tang Xiaobai was besieged by the extreme celestial sex experts and died at the Soul Burial Cliff. Suddenly, Hao Dan laughed and said, "Say, if I kill Lu Yiping during the Big Dipper Empire's celebration, will old demon Su Xiu go crazy?" Killed Lu Yiping. When the few subordinates heard that, they stuttered, "This, young sect master, isn't it not very good? Lu Yiping has the Yellow Springs old devil Lu Yiping's token, and now he's staying in Su Xiu's residence. It's obvious that Su Xiu values Lu Yiping a lot. Otherwise, he wouldn't have Su Xiu's token. If we kill him, I'm afraid Su Xiu will be furious." Hao Dan sneered, "So what if he's furious? Do you think our Dark Ghost sect is afraid of Su Xiu and the Yellow Springs Devil sect? In the past, old demon Su Xiu killed hundreds of our Dark Ghost sect's disciples and experts. I'm just collecting some interest by killing one of his disciples. All these years, old demon Su Xiu has been hiding in the battlefield of the gods to cultivate. No one knows where he is. I want to anger old demon Su Xiu and lure him out. I want to slaughter him and cut off his flesh piece by piece to go with wine." The subordinates kept quiet out of fear. No one dared to say anything. Among the hundreds of Dark Ghost sex experts that old demon Su Xiu killed, there was a close relative of their young sect master. "All right, you can leave now," Hao Dan said. After his subordinates retreated, he suddenly grabbed the maid next to him and bit down on her neck. Horrified screams rang out. When the subordinates heard the screams behind them, a chill ran down their spines. Their young sect master cultivated the blood demon divine art, and he often needed to drink fresh human blood. At this time, the Wan family's Wan Hong was also asking his subordinates about Lu Yiping's movements. "Young sect master, are we really going to deal with this Lu Yiping? I heard that the 4 guards by his side are very strong, all of them in the divine spirit realm." One of the Lu family's experts hesitated. "Should we report this to Lord Patriarch first?" Wan Hong stood with his hands behind his back and said, "Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Even if we don't do anything, the Dark Ghost sect's Hao Dan won't let him go." Inside the Big Dipper Emperor Palace. Tomorrow was the Empire's 10,000-year celebration, but the Big Dipper Emperor, Zhou Dingtian, was frowning. Who would have thought that the leak of Lu Yiping's identity would attract the attention of the Dark Ghost sect's young sect master Hao Dan and Wan family's young sect master Wan Hong? Not only that, but the number of evil sex experts in the imperial capital had also increased. Undercurrents were surging in the imperial capital. General Qin Yuan was kneeling in the main hall, sweat dripping down his forehead. This was because he was the one who leaked Lu Yiping's identity to the Yun family's Yun Haitian. "Your Majesty, this subject deserves death." Chen Yuan's heart tightened seeing that Zhou Dingtian didn't say anything for a long time. Zhou Dingtian said in a low voice, "Get up." After Chen Yuan stood up cautiously, Zhou Dingtian said, "Double the number of troops for tomorrow's celebration and guard the Imperial Palace's entrances and exits." Double the number of troops? Chen Yuan was stunned. Not to mention the number of troops in the imperial capital, just the Imperial Palace's troops numbered in the millions. Moreover, all of them were the Empire's trump cards. However, he didn't dare to question Zhou Dingtian's orders. He respectfully accepted the order and retreated. The next day, the sun rose above the horizon. The entire Big Dipper imperial capital was bustling with noise and excitement. Crowds were everywhere. Wave after wave of fireworks exploded in the sky above the imperial palace. The fireworks bloomed brilliantly, illuminating the entire imperial capital with a myriad of colors. The streets of the Big Dipper Empire's imperial capital were filled with a festive atmosphere. "Young noble, the celebration has begun." Lu Peng was overjoyed looking at the imperial palace in the sky. He smiled and said to Lu Yiping, "The Limitless Empire was one of the Big Dipper Empire's subordinate dynasties. Therefore, Lu Peng and the others could be considered half of the Big Dipper Empire's citizens. Therefore, they were very happy to see the Big Dipper Empire's 10,000-year celebration." Lu Yiping smiled and stood up, "Come, let's go." Thus, Lu Yiping and the others left the residence and drove the chariot. Lu Yiping also had Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu board the chariot. Zhang Jin's group of 4 walked in front while Song Ning and Lei Li's sword school's group of experts followed behind. Lu Yiping. He's Lu Yiping. The streets were crowded with people, but when they saw the Taurus war chariot, they all opened up a path for the chariot. He's Lu Yiping. Didn't they say he has a green face and long fangs, and looks like an evil ghost? I heard he obtained Tang Xiaobai's robe of nihility, and it concealed his cultivation. He really doesn't have any internal energy. All kinds of whispers came from the crowd. On the war chariot, Lu Yiping frowned. Green face and long fangs, looks like an evil ghost. Robe of nihility. Who spread this rumor on purpose? The Taurus Longjiao snorted coldly when he heard the clamor around him. His voice was like a thunderclap, and everyone's minds buzzed with fear. Silence descended. The war chariot slowly moved forward. Soon, the imperial palace came into view. At this time, a white war chariot drove over from another street. It was the Dark Ghost sect's young lord's war chariot. Chapter 31. In the end, the Taurus war chariot and Yin Ghost sect's young lord's war chariot met at the crossroads. Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's war chariot was pulled by a horned white lion. This was an ancient variant species, the white dragon lion. Similar to Taurus Longjiao, it possessed the dragon clan's bloodline. However, this white dragonlion's bloodline came from the giant dragon clan. Of course, its dragon clan bloodline was much weaker compared to Taurus Longjiao's. The war chariot came to a stop. Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan stared fixedly at Lu Yiping, and a smile blossomed on his tender face. This one is Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan, and you're Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping glanced at the other party, and asked indifferently, do you need something? Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan was stunned for a moment, then a charming smile appeared on his face. He stroked Huang Xiaolong's tender little hand and said, all these years, I've been looking for Su Xiu's whereabouts. Do you know where he is? Taurus Longjiao grinned, Junior, you want to find Su Xiu? Then you can go to hell to find him. Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's face sank at Huang Xiaolong's words. A bull dared to tease him. Let's go. Lu Yiping ignored the other party. The Taurus war chariot continued forward. Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan watched Lu Yiping's war chariot leave with a gloomy expression, and killing intent surged in his eyes. A short while later, the Taurus war chariot arrived at the Big Dipper Emperor Palace's northern gates. The Big Dipper Emperor Palace's northern gates were huge, and the various experts who came to participate in the celebration took out their invitation cards to be inspected before entering the Big Dipper Emperor Palace in an orderly manner. However, when Lu Yiping's group arrived, the Big Dipper Empire's General Qin Yuan came out to greet them. General Qin Yuan cupped his fists at Lu Yiping, Master Lu, you don't need to be inspected, please follow me through the other gate. Then, Lu Yiping's group followed General Chen into the Big Dipper Emperor Palace. Lu Yiping glanced at the Big Dipper Emperor Palace's army, which was heavily guarded every 3 steps, and said indifferently, your Emperor Palace is heavily guarded today, are you still afraid that someone will cause trouble? General Qin Yuan was a little embarrassed. He smiled and said, recently, the number of experts from the evil sects in the imperial capital has increased. The great emperor is just taking precautions. Subsequently, Qin Yuan led Lu Yiping's group through the various palaces and arrived at the Big Dipper Emperor Palace's main hall. However, only those who were personally invited by the Big Dipper Emperor and experts above the divine spirit realm had the qualifications to enter the main hall. Therefore, Song Ning, Lu Peng, and the others from the Lei Ke Sword School, as well as the experts from many empires and dynasties' first-rate sects, were arranged to stay in the inner hall below the main hall. As for the experts from the other sects and clans, they were arranged in the square outside. Lu Yiping led Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and the other 3 into the main hall. Chen Yuan led Lu Yiping to his seat and told him that if Lu Yiping needed anything, he could just ask the maids in the hall. Only then did he leave. There were 100 seats in the main hall, and more than 10 people had already arrived. There were both men and women, and some of them were chatting. Master Lu, I am the Raging Inferno sect's Hichaorong. I was guided by Senior Master Lu in the past, which allowed me to reach my current level. May I know what relationship you have with Senior Su Xiu? A bald, fat, and smiling old man cupped his fists politely at Lu Yiping. The Raging Inferno sect. It was also one of the Shinwu continent's super sections. This Hichaorong was the founder of the Raging Inferno sect and an early true divinity expert. Although Hichaorong was smiling, he had a cruel temperament, and his methods were extremely cruel. Lu Yiping glanced at the old man and calmly said, I've only met Su Xiu once. We can't be considered to be related. Only met once? Hichaorong and the other experts in the hall were also surprised. Hichaorong chuckled. Master Lu is joking. At this time, the junior sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, was also led into the hall by the Big Dipper Empire. Behind Hao Dan were 4 other experts from the Dark Ghost sect. After entering, he glanced at Lu Yiping with a calm expression before returning to his seat. Hao Dan's seat was right across from Lu Yiping's. After Hao Dan, a valiant beauty in emperor armor was led in. Behind the beauty were 4 experts as well. This woman was the Empress of the Flora Empire, Empress Flora Gu. Even without her status as an empress, she was still a rare beauty. Thus, when she entered, the hall fell silent for a moment. The Raging Inferno sect's Hichaorong looked at her with an evil glint in his eyes. Even the junior sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, narrowed his eyes. After Empress Flora, the Wan family's young master Wan Hong and Yun Haitian entered. The two had arrived together, but Yun Haitian was one step behind Wan Hong. After Wan clan's young master Wan Hong entered the hall, he glanced at Lu Yiping, then quietly sat down in his seat. Soon after, experts from various forces arrived. Soon, all the seats in the main hall were filled. Finally, Zhou Dingtian walked in with the Big Dipper Empire's experts behind him. He was wearing an emperor's robe with 9 dragons. After entering, Zhou Dingtian walked to the main seat and cupped his fists with a smile on his face. Zhou Dingtian is extremely grateful that everyone could come to celebrate the Big Dipper Empire's 10,000-year celebration. He then gave a long speech and raised his cup to toast everyone. Everyone raised their cups and toasted. What followed was a series of speeches, followed by singing and dancing. Everyone was happily chatting with each other. Their faces were filled with harmony and joy. After 3 rounds of drinking, the young sect master of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, suddenly said lazily, Isn't this song and dance a little boring? Zhou Dingtian, I heard that you have a Wind Thunder battle stage that you obtained from the ancient Wind Thunder sect. Why don't you take it out and let everyone have some fun? Add some fun. Everyone stopped and put down their wine cups. It's finally here. The Wind Thunder battle platform was an ancient divine artifact battle platform that allowed experts below the heavenly god realm to fight and learn from each other. Zhou Dingtian frowned, this. What's wrong, Zhou Dingtian? Are you afraid that we'll covet your Wind Lightning battle stage? Or are you unwilling to take it out and show it to us? The young sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, retracted his smile. The Wan family's young lord Wan Hong also spoke, I also want to see the Wind Lightning battle stage. I heard that fighting on the Wind Lightning battle stage can temper one's strength and bring great benefits. Alright then. Zhou Dingtian smiled, since young sect master Hao Dan and young lord Wan Hong want to see the Wind Lightning battle stage, I won't hide it any longer. He had no choice but to take out the Wind Lightning battle stage. The Wind Lightning battle stage flew out from Zhou Dingtian's hand and hovered in the air above the main hall. Light flickered around it as wind and lightning intertwined. The young sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, sat up straight, looking at the wind and lightning swirling around the Wind Lightning battle stage. He laughed, as expected of an ancient divine artifact battle stage, it can actually nurture astral wind and 5 elemental lightning. His gaze then landed on Lu Yiping. Master Lu, I heard that your subordinates killed 77 experts from the White Bone Gate in 2 moves in the Big Dipper Imperial capital. Their strength is shocking. Why don't you let your subordinates exchange a few moves with my Dark Ghost Sex experts? Chapter 32. 77 Sky Realm and Legendary Realm experts were killed in 2 moves. The young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, was mocking Huang Xiaolong. Everyone's gaze landed on Lu Yiping. 100 Blossom Empress, Ji Yu, was also looking at Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping glanced at the young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan. He took out the ice flame wine he brewed himself and poured a cup full of wine. The fragrance of the wine permeated the hall, overshadowing the previous wine fragrance. Everyone's spirits rose when they smelled the wine fragrance. Lu Yiping said leisurely, 2 moves. The young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, retracted his gaze from Lu Yiping's wine cup and sneered, that's right. He then signaled one of the Yin Ghost sex experts behind him. That Yin Ghost sex expert nodded and leaped into the air, landing on the Wind Lightning battle stage. When the Yin Ghost sex expert landed on the Wind Thunder battle platform, the wind and lightning in the Wind Thunder battle platform intensified. The Yin Ghost sex expert's gaze landed on Zhang Jin. You're the one who killed 77 Sky Realm and Legendary Realm experts of the White Bone Gate in 2 moves. Zhang Jin looked at Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping said indifferently, since he wants to play 2 moves, let's play 2 moves. Yes, master. Zhang Jin answered respectfully. He understood Lu Yiping's meaning. Don't kill them in 1 move. 2 moves. Zhang Jin's figure flickered and he appeared on the Wind Lightning battle stage. The young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, sneered when he saw Zhang Jin on the Wind Lightning battle stage. He said to the Yin Ghost sex expert, Long Tian, fight with all your strength. Don't disappoint Master Lu and his subordinates. Yes, young master. The expert from the Yin Ghost sect, Long Tian, laughed and released his chi. Boom! Long Tian of the Yin Ghost sect roared, and the entire Wind Lightning battle platform shook. Sensing the terrifying aura coming from the Yin Ghost sect's Long Tian, the faces of everyone in the hall changed. Peak late-stage Divine Spirit Realm. One of the Wan family's experts behind Wan Hong exclaimed. The peak of the late stage of the Divine Spirit Realm. The highest realm in the Divine Spirit Realm was just 1 step away from the True God Realm. This expert of the Dark Ghost sect, Long Tian, was a peak late-stage Divine Spirit Realm expert. Since when did the Yin Ghost sect have such an expert? One of the Yun family's patriarchs exclaimed in shock. Yun Haitian's face was also full of shock. The peak of the late stage of the Divine Spirit Realm. Such an expert, if he encountered a lucky chance, he could break through to the True God Realm at any time. Who would have thought that the young sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, would actually bring an expert at the peak of the late stage of the Divine Spirit Realm? Behind the 100-Flower Empress Ji Yu, a Divine Spirit Realm expert from the 100-Flower Empire said, Hao Dan actually brought a peak late-stage Divine Spirit Realm expert with him this time. It looks like that Lu Yiping is doomed. In the main hall, the experts from all sides were in an uproar. One of the Raging Inferno Gates experts said to He Chaorong, martial ancestor, this Lu Yiping might be in danger. Should we make a move? He Chaorong shook his head, if we save this Lu Yiping, we will definitely offend the Yin Ghost sect. The losses outweigh the gains. Su Xiu did give me some pointers in the past, but this small favor is not enough for me to offend the Yin Ghost sect. If this Lu Yiping dies, then he dies. We'll just watch the show from the side. Right at this time, the Yin Ghost sex expert, Long Tian, soared into the air above the battle stage. Waves of black energy surged out from his body. A Vici devil palm. A giant devil palm came crashing down with a momentum that could blot out the sun. This devil palm seemed to contain the cries of millions of evil spirits, and it exuded an eerie energy that seemed to come from the Avicii hell. The Avicii Hell was known as the most painful and darkest hell. Those who entered the Avicii Hell would never be able to reincarnate. It's actually the Avicii Devil Palm. The 100-flower Empress Ji Yu's face changed. Even the Wan family's young Lord Wanhong was shocked. More than 100,000 years ago, there was an Avicii devil sect that claimed to come from hell. Wherever they went, all the forces in the eternal origin world would pale. This Avicii Devil Palm was the Avicii Devil sect's ultimate technique. Later on, the Avicii Devil sect offended the Holy Demon, and their sect master was killed by the Holy Demon. That battle had shattered the ancient cold abyss, and even the Sea of Misery had been split in half. Now, the Aeon Ghost sect's expert had actually used the Avicii Devil Palm. Could it be that the Aeon Ghost sect had obtained the Avicii Devil sect's treasure? Hao Dan smiled brightly when he saw everyone's shock. Indifferent, he looked at Lu Yiping. After dealing with Lu Yiping's guards, he would deal with Lu Yiping. He wanted to leave Lu Yiping until the end. It was more fun to play with him slowly. Zhang Jin looked at the Avicii Devil Palm that blotted out the sun. Suddenly, his aura surged. Behind him, a black light shot into the sky, and a giant elephant appeared. This giant elephant's 4 hooves were like heavenly pillars. Under its hooves, it was as if all evil in the world was about to be suppressed. Everyone was stunned when they saw the giant elephant. Then, their faces were filled with shock. Could this be? It's Lord Holy Demon's astronomical divine hell fist. The Wan family's expert exclaimed. 100-flower Empress Ji Yu stood up in shock. Even the Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, who was sitting on his throne, stood up in disbelief. Dong! When Zhang Jin punched out, astronomical divine hell fist shook the heavens and earth. It was as if it had struck everyone's heart. A giant fist mark broke through the air, and it instantly pierced through the Avicii Devil Palm. The Aeon Ghost sect's expert, Long Tian, was directly hit by the astronomical divine hell fist. His entire body froze in the air, and he shot up into the sky like a shooting star. At this time, Zhang Jin took a step forward and appeared in the air. Then, he punched out again. But this time, it was no longer celestial phenomenon. When he punched out, everyone had the illusion that time and space were flowing backwards in an instant. Strands of space-time light shot out from Zhang Jin's fist. Divine Time Fist. The Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian felt his heart tremble. The Divine Time Fist was a secret art from an invincible existence. This invincible existence was even older than the Holy Demon. No one knew his real name. The only thing recorded in the history books was that he was called the Old Demon of Time. The Divine Fist of Time landed heavily on Long Tian's chest. Long Tian's chest exploded, and the divine armor on his body shattered into countless pieces. His body slammed into the Wind Lightning battle stage. The Wind Lightning battle stage shook violently, and countless bolts of lightning flew out. Fortunately, the Wind Lightning battle stage was protected by an ancient formation, and the two's strength didn't leak out of the stage. Otherwise, the entire hall would have been blown away. Dead silence fell over the hall. Zhang Jin slowly descended from the sky. The Aeon Ghost sect's expert, Long Tian, had a hole in his chest. The area around his chest was being eroded by the power of time, and his body began to wither. Long Tian's entire body shriveled at an alarming speed, and even his hair began to fall out. He had turned into an old man with 1 foot in the grave. This was the terrifying power of the Divine Time Fist. Everyone couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Everyone's expression changed when they looked at Zhang Jin. This Zhang Jin actually knew the astronomical Divine Hell Fist. Could it be that Lu Yiping's backer wasn't Su Xiu, but the Holy Demon? Chapter 33. But what about Old Devil Time's Divine Time Fist? Everyone couldn't hide the shock in their hearts. Even the Dark Ghost sect's young sect chief Hao Dan and several other experts found it hard to calm down. Wasn't Lu Yiping Su Xiu's nephew? His subordinate actually knew the astronomical divine prison fist and divine time fist. Or could it be that Lu Yiping had obtained the astronomical divine prison fist and divine time fist? He might even have obtained Lord Holy Demon and Old Devil Time's treasures. The Dark Ghost sect's young sect chief Hao Dan thought. It wasn't surprising that Hao Dan would think so. After all, the Holy Demon and Old Devil Time were no longer in this world. If Lu Yiping hadn't obtained their treasures, how could his subordinate know the astronomical divine prison fist and divine time fist? Everyone slowly returned to their seats amidst their shock. However, even the Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian couldn't remain calm. Just like Hao Dan, the young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Zhou Dingtian and many others also thought that Lu Yiping might have obtained the treasures in the cave abodes of the Holy Devil and the Old Devil of Time. One of the Blazing Flames sect's experts sent a voice transmission to He Chaorong, martial ancestor. Could this Lu Yiping have obtained the treasures from the Holy Demon and Old Devil Time's treasures? A light flickered in He Chaorong's eyes. The Wan family's young lord Wan Hong stared at Zhang Jin, trying to see through him. At this time, Zhang Jin had already returned to Lu Yiping's side from the wind-lightning battle stage. When Zhang Jin had executed the astronomical divine prison fist and divine time fist, he had also revealed that he was at the peak of the late-stage divine spirit realm. However, was Zhang Jin really at the peak of the late-stage divine spirit realm? The Wan family's young lord Wan Hong couldn't calm down as he recalled the terrifying power of the astronomical divine prison fist and divine time fist. The Avicii Devil sect's Avicii Devil palm was so weak in front of the astronomical divine prison fist. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping and Zhang Jin, who was standing behind Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping's expression didn't change when he felt everyone's burning gaze on him. The young master of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, sat there with a gloomy expression on his face. Long Tian had already been carried off the stage. The Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's face turned even uglier when he saw Long Tian Xing's shriveled corpse. He looked at Lu Yiping and said in a cold voice, "Lu Yiping, do you want your subordinate to continue fighting with my Yin Ghost sect? Do you dare?" Everyone was stunned. Who would have thought that the young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, would dare to continue playing? One had to know that he had crippled a cultivator at the peak of the late stage of the divine spirit realm with just 2 moves. Do you dare? Zhou Dingtian, Wan Hong, 100 Blossom Empress, Yun Haitian, and the others all looked at Lu Yiping. Hearing this, Lu Yiping poured himself another cup. He looked at the other 3 experts behind Hao Dan and smiled, of course. The Dark Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's gaze landed on Zhao Wen, who was standing behind Lu Yiping. This time, let him go up the stage. Zhang Jin, Wei Bing, and Chen Yongyuan had a strange expression on their faces. Lu Yiping smiled, "As you wish." He then said to Zhao Wen, you go up and play with him." The young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan's face twitched hearing Huang Xiaolong's words. He stood up and said respectfully to a tall expert behind him, "Uncle Batian, please make a move." Everyone was shocked to see the young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan's respectful attitude. Even when Hao Dan had Long Tian, who was at the peak of the late stage of the divine spirit realm, go up the stage, he wasn't this respectful. Could it be? A thought flashed through everyone's mind. The tall expert nodded at He Dan and leaped into the air, landing on the wind-lightning battle stage at the same time as Zhao Wen. The tall expert from the Yin Ghost sect, Batian, landed on the wind-lightning battle stage and looked coldly at Zhao Wen. "You will die a miserable death." His aura exploded out from his body. Boom! When the Yin Ghost sect's expert Batian released his aura, the wind-lightning battle stage's thunderstorm was blown away, and a shining godhead flew out from his body. As soon as this godhead flew out, a true god's divine aura swept through the Great Hall, even the Emperor Palace, and the entire imperial capital. At this moment, everyone was able to sense this astonishing divine might. Inside the Emperor Palace, all the experts who came to participate in the celebration were shocked. A true God Realm expert. Who angered a true God Realm expert? It's from the main hall. What happened in the main hall? In the inner hall and the square, all the first-rate and second-rate sex experts were in an uproar. Inside the imperial capital, the evil sex experts who had snuck into the imperial capital were also shocked. True God realm experts rarely made a move. Generally, true God realm experts wouldn't make a move easily. Thus, it was rare to see a true God realm expert making a move. Now, inside the Big Dipper Emperor Palace, there was a true God realm expert making a move. Zhou Dingtian's face tightened, peak early stage true God realm. This Ba Tian wasn't just a true God realm expert, he was a peak early stage true God realm expert. The Yin Ghost sect actually sent a true God realm expert to accompany their young Lord Hao Dan. What was the Yin Ghost sect trying to do? Not only was Zhou Dingtian shocked, but the Wan family's young Lord Wan Hong, 100 Blossom Empress, Yun Haitian, and even the Raging Fire Gate's ancestor He Chaorong was shocked. Although he was also a true God realm expert, he was only an early-stage true God realm expert. Compared to this Ba Tian, he was still a little lacking. When did the Yin Ghost sect recruit another true God realm expert? For example, the Hengyuan World Surface's top 10 super forces, every time they gained a true God realm expert, their strength would increase by a notch. The Yin Ghost sect's young Lord Hao Dan looked at Lu Yiping with a cold glint in his eyes. At this time, the Yin Ghost sect's Ba Tian clawed at Zhao Wen. Netherworld Prison. Extreme Frost Claw. Break for me. A giant devil claw tore through space. This giant devil claw was emitting purple frigid chi. The purple frigid chi seeped into the air and froze the space. Whether it was the main hall, the inner hall, the square, or the capital city, everyone could feel the terrifying frigid chi in the air. This frigid chi seemed capable of freezing heaven and earth. What? Extreme Frost Claw. The Raging Fire Gate's ancestor He Chaorong screamed. The Extreme Frost Claw was a supreme technique from the Netherworld Prison. The Netherworld Prison was a forbidden land for all gods in the Hengyuan world. Could this Yin Ghost sect's Ba Tian be from the Netherworld Prison? Could it be that the Yin Ghost sect had already formed an alliance with the Netherworld Prison? The Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, Wan family's young Lord Wan Hong, Yun Haitian, and all the other experts in the main hall had a change in expression. The Extreme Frost Claw tore through space, and wherever it passed, the wind and lightning on the wind-lightning battle stage froze. Lu Yiping glanced at the Extreme Frost Claw. Extreme Frost Claw. Netherworld Prison. It seems like some people still haven't given up on their evil intentions. Indifferent smiles appeared on Huang Xiaolong's face. Looking at the Extreme Frost Claw, Zhao Wen, who hadn't made a move until now, raised her hand. Chapter 34. When Zhao Wen raised his hand, everyone seemed to see the space freeze for a moment. Suddenly, layers of divine light shot out from Zhao Wen's hand. The divine light was like thousands of suns exploding. The light was so strong that it covered all other light in the world. Even the purple frost of the claw of extreme frost was overshadowed by this divine light. It was as if this divine light was the only thing left in the world. The origin of the world seemed to be in this divine light. Immediately after, mysterious runes were born from the divine light. These runes seemed to have come from a new era and a new world. Zhao Wen suddenly punched out. The divine light shot out. Countless runes turned into a long river of history and blasted toward the opponent. These runes contained yin and yang, life and death, and the 5 elements. They seemed to contain all the power in the world. Boom! When Zhao Wen's divine fist collided with the claw of extreme frost. The claw of extreme frost instantly collapsed. The space that was originally frozen also collapsed and cracked open. The layers of purple cold air were like shattered glass as they shot out in all directions. The people in the main palace, the inner palace, the square, and even the imperial capital felt as if the world was about to freeze. At this moment, they felt the frost dissipate. Zhao Wen's fist landed on Batian of the Dark Ghost sect. The sound of explosions rang out in quick succession. It was as if a divine mountain had exploded. It was as if a world of ice had exploded. The Een ghost Sex Ba Tian's eyes widened, and his entire body bent backwards. He was like a prawn that had been catapulted backwards. Dong! He crashed into the barrier of the Wind Thunder battle platform. The barrier of the Wind Thunder battle platform shook violently from the impact. Everyone in the imperial capital felt their ears buzz. Everyone in the main palace felt their minds explode. Zhou Dingtian's expression changed as he hurriedly strengthened the barrier of the Wind Thunder battle platform. Even so, the shocking power was still transmitted from the Wind Thunder battle platform to the space, causing ripples to form in the space around it. The main palace was hit by the ripples and shook. The experts of the Big Dipper Empire hurriedly activated the array of the main palace. Only then did the main palace stabilize. After a long time, the space finally stopped shaking. All the divine light slowly dissipated. The wind and lightning in the Wind Thunder battle platform also stopped rampaging. Everyone looked over and saw the peak early stage true God realm expert of the Een ghost sect, Ba Tian, lying on the wind lightning battle stage, vomiting blood. His hair was disheveled, and his body was covered in blood and lacerations. His chest was caved in from Zhao Wen's attack. Everyone stared at Zhao Wen on the Wind Thunder battle platform in shock. Zhao Wen, just like his name, was gentle and cultured. Unexpectedly. Just one punch. Batian from the Een ghost sect had been reduced to such a state by a single punch. This is late true God realm. Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian's voice trembled. Late true God realm. When the Big Dipper Martial Emperor Zhou Dingtian's voice entered everyone's ears, their hearts skipped a beat. Late true God. 100-Flower Empress Ji muttered to herself and couldn't help but gasp. The peak early stage true God realm expert from the Een ghost sect, Ba Tian, was already shocking enough. Now, there was a late stage true God realm expert. Most importantly, this late stage true God was Lu Yiping's subordinate. No, to be exact, he was a slave. What kind of identity did this Lu Yiping have? How could he have a late-stage true God realm subordinate? Amidst the shock, the Wan family's young lord Wan Hong recalled Zhao Wen's divine fist. That divine fist felt familiar to him, but he couldn't recall where he had heard of it before. Perhaps, he had seen it in some scripture. Just as the hall fell into a deathly silence, Zhao Wen stepped forward and punched out. When Zhao Wen punched out, an invincible aura surged from his body, as if he was the ruler of the world. Layers of golden flames covered his fist as it pierced through the air. What? Seeing the giant golden flame fist, everyone in the hall exclaimed in shock. The Wan family's experts exclaimed in shock, Golden Flame Divine Fist. Golden Flame Divine Fist. It was their Wan family's ultimate technique. Moreover, it was their Wan family's ultimate technique. But, how did Zhao Wen know it? Looking at the layers of golden flames, it was clear that he had learned the Wan family's Golden Flame Divine Fist. The Wan family's young lord Wan Hong, who had been sitting down, stood up once more, his eyes wide with disbelief. How did Zhao Wen know the Wan family's ultimate technique? Even many of the Wan family's ancestors did not know how to use the Golden Flame Divine Fist. Not even he knew how to use it. Currently, only 2 people in the Wan family knew how to use it. One was his father, and the other was his grandfather, Wan Wudi, the master of Shenwu continent. Amidst everyone's shock, the Golden Flame Divine Fist landed on the Dark Ghost Sex expert, Batian. Boom! The Dark Ghost Sex expert's chest was completely pierced through. The Golden Flame Divine Fist carried a berserk strength that crazily destroyed the Dark Ghost Sex expert's life force. Everyone's hearts trembled. Although it was said that true God realm experts had godhood, and were difficult to kill, it would take years for Ba Tian from the Een ghost sect to fully recover from his injuries. Even if he could, it would be difficult for him to return to his peak. Zhao Wen returned to Lu Yiping's side. As for Batian, he was carried back to the Dark Ghost sect's side. In the inner sanctum, the various empires and dynasties were all guessing what had happened in the main hall. One of the 100-Flower Empire's experts said, there was news from the main hall that the true Immortal Realm expert was from the Dark Ghost sect. The Dark Ghost sect's true Immortal Realm expert is going to fight Lu Yiping's subordinate on the Wind Lightning battle stage. What, the Dark Ghost sect? The Inner Sanctum's experts were in an uproar. I've heard that the Dark Ghost sect's young sect master, Hao Dan, is here to kill Lu Yiping. I didn't expect the Dark Ghost sect to send a true Immortal Realm expert. It seems that Lu Yiping is dead for sure. Everyone discussed. The Lei Ke Sword School's Song Ning, Lu Peng, and the others' expressions changed. Will the young master be alright? Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu asked worriedly. Not far away, the Shao family's ancestor was secretly delighted. The Everlasting Dynasty's ancestor, Tai Wuji, only shook his head. Princess Tai Yan's expression relaxed. But soon, the 100-Flower Empire's experts stammered, there was news from the main hall that the Dark Ghost sect's true Immortal Realm expert was defeated. He was blasted half to death. Then, he added in a trembling voice, that Lu Yiping's subordinate is a late-stage true Immortal Realm expert. The Inner Sanctum's experts were dumbfounded hearing this. The Inner Sanctum's bustling atmosphere turned deathly silent. Princess Tai Yan's beautiful eyes were filled with disbelief. Even the Lei Ke Sword School's Song Ning couldn't believe his ears. Late-stage true Immortal Realm. The Lei Ke Sword School's Grand Elder, who had questioned Lu Yiping's arrogance on the street, trembled uncontrollably. For someone like him, who had just entered the Emperor Realm, a single breath from a true Immortal Realm expert could send him flying to the Heavenly God River. At this time, inside the main hall, Lu Yiping poured himself a cup of wine and said to the Dark Ghost sect's young sect master, Hao Dan, do you want to go up and play a few more moves? The Inner Sanctum's experts' faces twitched. The first time he played 2 moves, he crippled a peak late-stage God Spirit Realm expert. The second time, he crippled a peak early-stage true Immortal Realm expert. Everyone's gaze fell on the Dark Ghost sect's young sect master, Hao Dan. Chapter 35. Do you dare? Or do you not dare? Being stared at by all the experts in the main hall, Hao Dan's face turned gloomy. He suddenly raised his head and looked at the carefree Lu Yiping with a sinister expression. Why don't the two of us play a few rounds? Everyone in the hall was surprised. The young sect master of the Yin Ghost sect was going to personally take on Lu Yiping? The hall fell silent once more. However, we won't be fighting on the battle stage. The Dark Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan added. Lu Yiping put down his wine cup and looked at the other party with a faint smile. Then how do you want to compete? Hao Dan sneered. Let's compete in the Guqin. Compete in the Guqin. Everyone was stunned. No one had expected that the young sect master of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, would actually want to compete with Lu Yiping in the zither. Everyone involuntarily looked at Yun Haitian. Yun Haitian's sword and Guqin skills were famous throughout the Shenwu continent. Compete in the Guqin. Lu Yiping smiled. How? The Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan sneered when he saw the smile on Lu Yiping's face. There is no lack of zither experts in the Great Hall. Let's each play a song, and the people in the Great Hall will judge the winner. He paused for a moment before continuing, if you lose, I will take your life. Playing with his life. Everyone was shocked. Young sect master. The experts from the Yin Ghost sect exclaimed. Zhou Dingtian also frowned and advised, young sect master Hao Dan, winning or losing is a common thing in war. There is no need for this. I hope young sect master Hao Dan will reconsider. Whether it was Hao Dan or Lu Yiping, dying in the Big Dipper Palace was not a good thing for the Big Dipper Empire. The other experts did not dare to make a sound. Obviously, no one wanted to be involved in the matter between Hao Dan and Lu Yiping. Yin Ghost sect's young sect master, Hao Dan, ignored Zhou Dingtian. He stared at Lu Yiping and said, "But, isn't it boring to just play with your life? You have the astronomical divine prison fist and the divine time fist, don't you?" Then, he took out a space ring and opened it. Inside the space ring, there were mountains of upper spiritual stones. There were at least 1 billion of them. There were countless spirit herbs, and there were even a few 100,000-year-old spirit herbs. On top of that, there were many golden cores of gods, 4 godheads, 6 high-grade spiritual veins, and 4 low-grade divine artifacts. If you lose, the astronomical divine hell fist and the divine time fist will belong to me. If I lose, everything I have is yours. The voice of Hao Dan, the young lord of the Yin ghost sect, reverberated throughout the hall. Everyone gulped when they saw the items inside Hao Dan's spatial ring. Ordinary true gods did not even have a single low-grade divine artifact. But now, Hao Dan actually had 4. Those high-grade spirit stones, spiritual herbs, divine pellets, godheads, and spiritual veins also made everyone's heart burn with excitement. Yun Haitian, the young master of the Yun family, was inwardly shocked when he saw the items in the spatial ring. The Yun family was one of the 4 great families of the Xinwu continent, and as the young master of the Yun family, Yun Haitian, could be considered wealthy. However, when compared to Hao Dan, the difference between them was like heaven and earth. "What do you think?" Hao Dan asked coldly. Lu Yiping shook his head. Just as everyone thought that Lu Yiping was going to refuse, Lu Yiping said, "Your life is worthless. I do have the astronomical divine hell fist and the divine time fist, but do you think that you can afford the real astronomical divine hell fist and the divine time fist with your trash?" Lu Yiping looked at Hao Dan's spatial ring and said indifferently. Even the trashiest divine artifact on him was a top-grade divine artifact. The lowest grade spirit stones that he used before were divine grade. As for those divine pellets, spiritual veins, and spiritual herbs, they were even more valuable. The young sect leader of the Yin ghost sect, Hao Dan's face turned green. Lu Yiping was saying that he, the young master of the dark ghost sect, was worthless. Was that what he meant? Was he saying that his divine artifacts, spiritual veins, and divine pellets were trash? Was that what he meant? At this time, Lu Yiping took out 2 secret manuals. The 2 secret manuals were made of unknown materials, and they emitted a faint glow that seemed to contain a mysterious energy. Astronomical Divine Hell Fist. Divine Time Fist. Seeing the ancient words on the 2 secret manuals, everyone was speechless. Hao Dan, the young master of the Dark Ghost sect, was enraged. The astronomical Divine Hell Fist and the Divine Time Fist were really on Lu Yiping's body. This Lu Yiping really did obtain the treasures from the Holy Demon and Old Devil Time's cultivation caves. No wonder he didn't care about his low-grade divine artifacts, spiritual veins, and spirit stones. If Huang Xiaolong had obtained the treasures from the Holy Demon and Old Devil Time's cultivation caves, it was normal that he wouldn't care about the low-grade divine artifacts, spiritual veins, and spirit stones. The Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, Wan Hong, Yun Haitian, 100 Blossom Empress, and the Raging Flames Gates founder, He Chaorong, and the others' eyes flickered. Like Hao Dan, they all thought that Lu Yiping had obtained the treasures from the Holy Demon and Old Devil Time's cultivation caves. The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, said to the other experts of the Dark Ghost sect, "Take out your spatial rings." The Yin Ghost sect's experts knew what Hao Dan was going to do. They looked at the Divine Fist of Astronomical Elephants and the Divine Fist of Time on Lu Yiping's table, hesitated for a moment, and then took out all of their interspatial rings. "Young master, let's forget it. I think we should go back and ask the sect chief for advice," one of the Dark Ghost sect's experts persuaded. If Hao Dan lost and died here, they wouldn't be able to avoid heavy punishment. "You think I'll lose?" The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, looked coldly at the expert before opening all the spatial rings. Spiritual energy surged, and divine light flickered. "What do you think if I add these?" The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, looked at Lu Yiping indifferent. Among the experts of the Dark Ghost sect, the weakest was at the Divine Spirit realm. That Ba Tian was a true God realm expert, so it was natural that his spatial rings were filled with treasures. However, Lu Yiping shook his head. It's not enough. He paused for a moment before continuing. You have the yin-yang furnace, right? Yin-yang furnace. Hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. The yin-yang furnace was a high-grade divine artifact of the Dark Ghost sect. It was a supreme furnace used to refine pills. Using this furnace to refine pills would increase the quality of the pills. The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and took out a furnace. The furnace glowed with two different colors. It was the yin-yang furnace. The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, placed the furnace on the table and looked coldly at Lu Yiping. Is this enough? It's a so-so. Although this yin-yang furnace is trash, it's fine for my subordinates to use. Lu Yiping said indifferently. Everyone spat out the wine in their mouths when they heard this. If Lu Yiping won, he would give the furnace to his subordinates. The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan's face was ugly as he glared at Lu Yiping. You first, or me first? Lu Yiping gestured for Hao Dan to go first. The young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, didn't waste any time and took out a zither. The zither was about 1 meter long and had a dark luster to it, as if it had a demonic aura that made it hard for people to look away. The Sky Devil Zither. Yun Haitian exclaimed in shock when he saw the zither. What, the Sky Devil Zither? Could it be the six-fingered zither demon's Sky Devil Zither? The six-fingered zither demon was the #1 zither cultivator in the Hengyuan plain. Now, the young master of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, took out the Sky Devil Zither. Could it be that he had taken the six-fingered zither demon as his master? Chapter 36. Yun Haitian glanced at Lu Yiping. If the Yin Ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan became the six-fingered zither devil's disciple, then Lu Yiping would lose. The six-fingered zither demon was the #1 zither cultivator in the Hengyuan realm. His zither Dao had reached a level that no one could reach. He was the peak that no zither cultivator in the Hengyuan realm could reach. Everyone wanted to become the disciple of the six-fingered zither demon, but no one had ever succeeded. The requirements were too high. Now, the young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, was accepted as a disciple by the six-fingered zither demon. His talent in the Tao of the zither was high. Moreover, the fact that he could pass the Sky Devil Zither to Hao Dan meant that Hao Dan had learned all of his skills. With Hao Dan's current level of zither Tao, there were only a few people in the entire Hengyuan realm who could defeat him. He looked at the Divine Fist of Time and Astronomical Elephant's fist on Lu Yiping's table and frowned. Could it be that the Divine Fist of Time and Astronomical Elephant's fist of Astronomical Elephants would fall into the hands of the Yin Ghost sect? If the Yin Ghost sect obtained the Divine Fist of Astronomical Elephant's fist of Divine Time and Astronomical Elephant's fist of Astronomical Elephant's fist, their strength would definitely rise. At that time, wouldn't the Great Celestial Sect be unable to suppress the Yin Ghost sect? Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, Wan family's young Lord Wan Hong, 100 Blossom Empress, and Yi Charong from the Raging Inferno sect looked at the Divine Fist of Astronomical Elephant's fist and Astronomical Elephant's fist of Divine Time and frowned. The young lord of the Yin Ghost sect, Hao Dan, placed the Sky Devil Zither down and stroked it with an intoxicated expression on his face. I must become the disciple of the six-fingered zither demon and cultivate for 100 years. With the zither as my companion and friend, I can comprehend the Tao of the zither. It is my fortune. Today, I will play the song of the heavenly demon to cheer everyone up. Sky Devil Song. Everyone was shocked when they heard the name. The Sky Devil Song was the six-fingered zither demon's unique skill. It was also one of the 10 most famous songs in the history of the Hengyuan realm. Hao Dan's aura changed after he finished speaking. Heaven and earth seemed to have quieted down. Even the airflow in the hall seemed to slow down. Hao Dan sat there with his hands on the zither, unmoving. Zither and man as one. Yun Haitian's expression turned serious. The Guqin Dao had 10 realms. As for the unity of Zither and man, that was the 8th level. Above that was the Guqin Saint Plane. Clang! The young lord of the Een ghost sect, Hao Dan, moved. He plucked the strings of the zither, and a thunderous sound reverberated through the air. Everyone's heartstrings trembled. Immediately after, the sound of the zither rang out like thunder. Waves of Dao sound waves came from the main palace and echoed throughout the entire imperial palace. Then, the entire imperial capital was filled with thunderous sounds. Everyone felt their minds rumble, as if they were in a world of lightning. Suddenly, the sound of thunder disappeared. Everyone saw strands of demonic qi permeating the air above the imperial capital. Moreover, the demonic qi was getting denser and denser. The demonic qi condensed into numerous heavenly demons. Demonic dance. The young sect leader of the Een ghost sect, Hao Dan, moved his hands faster and faster. In the beginning, the crowd could still see his hand gestures, but towards the end, they could only see afterimages. Hao Dan, the young master of the Een ghost sect, was surrounded by a sea of demonic qi. Peak late-stage divine spirit realm. Someone exclaimed. The young sect leader of the Een ghost sect, Hao Dan, was a peak late-stage divine spirit realm expert. In the end, the young sect leader of the Een ghost sect, Hao Dan, was shrouded in demonic qi, as if he had turned into a heavenly demon. Turning into a heavenly demon. The demonic tune is like the heavens itself. Man and zither as one, zither and music as one, and music as one with the heavens. Yun Haitian exclaimed. This had already surpassed the realm of man and zither as one. Even if Hao Dan hadn't reached the zither saint realm, he wasn't far from it. Then, Yun Haitian saw many divine spirit realm experts' eyes flickering with demonic light. It was obvious that they were affected by the heavenly demon tune and had turned into a devil. Once they turned into a devil, they would be controlled by the heavenly demon Zither, the Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan. Yun Haitian felt cold sweat trickling down his back. Even divine spirit realm experts could be controlled. If the Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan, ordered these divine spirit realm experts to attack, the consequences would be dire. The Big Dipper Empire's Zhou Ding Tian looked at the divine spirit realm experts in the main palace who had turned into a devil, and his heart tightened. Moments later, the heavenly demon Zither's music stopped. The demonic qi dispersed, and the heavenly demons above the imperial city gradually dissipated. The divine spirit realm experts in the hall who had turned into a devil also regained their senses. The Big Dipper Empire's Zhou Ding Tian, 100 Blossom Empress, and the Wan family's experts breathed a sigh of relief as they looked at the Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan, with wariness in their eyes. Although the Een ghost sect's young sect leader wasn't a true God realm expert, he was more terrifying than most true God realm experts. It's your turn. The Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan, stopped. Indifferent, he looked at Lu Yiping and sneered, "If you don't have a good zither, I can lend you my heavenly demon zither." Lu Yiping looked at Hao Dan and said indifferently, "Even if I don't have a zither, I can still win against someone like you who has just learned how to play the zither." Everyone was stunned. The Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan, laughed out loud, "I just learned how to play the zither." "Good. Then I, Hao Dan, would like to see your supreme zither Dao." Yun Haitian looked at Lu Yiping with a frown on his face. The six-fingered zither demon was only at the 9th level of the zither Dao, the zither saint realm. In the entire Hengyuan plain, there were only a handful of people who had reached this level of zither Dao. Could it be that Lu Yiping's zither Dao had also reached this level? It shouldn't be. If it wasn't possible, that was a little too full of himself. Because the Een ghost sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan's zither Dao realm was infinitely close to the zither saint realm. Right at this time, Lu Yiping suddenly placed his hands on the table. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. What was Lu Yiping trying to do? There was no zither on the table. Yun Haitian's eyes widened as he thought of a possibility. Could it be? At this time, Lu Yiping's 10 fingers moved. Zheng! The sound of a zither resounded. What? Everyone in the hall stood up in shock. There was no zither. But there were zither sounds coming from it. Lu Yiping's 10 fingers moved faster, and the sound of the zither reverberated in the air. The sound of the zither was like the sound of flowing water, like the wind blowing through the trees, like a violent thunderstorm, and like the whispers of an immortal. Amidst the sound of the zither, everyone felt as if they had become the embodiment of heaven and earth. Musical notes flew out from Lu Yiping's 10 fingers. That's right, musical notes flew out as if they were real objects. These musical notes transformed into the figures of divine beasts, ancient gods, and even lightning bolts. Yun Haitian's eyes widened in shock and excitement as he shouted, "There is no zither in his hand, but everything in the world is his zither music." The 10th level, the Zither Immortal Realm. This is the Zither Immortal Realm. Since the ancient times, there had been no Zither Immortal Realm. And now, the Zither Immortal Realm had reappeared in the world. The Yin Ghost Sect's young sect leader, Hao Dan, looked at Lu Yiping's 10 fingers in disbelief, and he screamed crazily, "Impossible! It can't be the Zither Immortal Realm. There are no more immortals in this world, how can he be the Zither Immortal?" Chapter 37. Everyone fell silent when they saw Hao Dan's crazed state. "You've lost." Lu Yiping's hand stopped moving, and he said calmly. "You've lost." Lu Yiping's voice reverberated in the hall. His voice was calm, but it reverberated in the ears of Hao Dan and the rest of the crowd. Lu Yiping put away the astronomical divine prison fist and the divine fist of time, and a sword suddenly appeared in his hand. The Crimson Flame Sword. One of the Raging Fire Gate's ancestors exclaimed. Everyone's gaze fell on the Crimson Flame Sword. The hall fell silent once again. An aura of death began to pervade the hall. Wan family's young lord Wan Hong felt his throat go dry. Was Lu Yiping really going to kill the Dark Ghost Sect's young lord? The Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian hesitated for a moment before speaking with difficulty. "Master Lu, you and young Lord Hao Dan played the zither to liven up the celebration. I think we should forget about the bet." However, before the Big Dipper Martial Emperor Zhou Dingtian could finish his sentence, a sword ray suddenly flashed. The sword light was fiery red. When the sword light disappeared, everyone looked over and saw the Dark Ghost Sect's young lord Hao Dan clutching at his throat, staring at Lu Yiping in disbelief. Golden blood flowed out from his throat like a fountain. "You!" Yin Ghost Sect's young sect master, Hao Dan, pointed at Lu Yiping. Following that, his head rolled down from his neck and landed in the center of the palace hall. Blood spurted out from his neck. The hall was dyed red. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw Hao Dan's head rolling off his neck. Even the Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, Wan family's young lord Wan Hong, 100 Blossom Empress, and the others jumped in fright. It felt like the sky had fallen. The Dark Ghost Sect's young lord Hao Dan died just like that. No one saw how Lu Yiping attacked. However, no one had sensed any fluctuations of divine power just now. Young lord. Ba Tian, Long Tian, and the others stared at Hao Dan's corpse in disbelief. Batian and Long Tian both swallowed some medicinal pellets and recovered from their injuries. Ba Tian, Long Tian, and the other two glared at Lu Yiping, but none of them dared to make a move. "Lu Yiping, our Yin Ghost Sect and Nether Purgatory's experts will pay you a visit another day." After a moment of silence, Ba Tian finally spoke. His voice was low, and his eyes were bloodshot. The hearts of everyone in the hall shook when they heard Long Tian mention the Netherworld. The Yin Ghost Sect had indeed joined forces with the Nether Purgatory. Lu Yiping smiled when he heard that. "I'll be waiting then." Batian and the other three took the corpse of the Yin Ghost Sect's young lord Hao Dan and soared into the sky, disappearing into the horizon in the blink of an eye. Watching the Yin ghost sect members disappear into the horizon, the hall was silent. No one dared to speak, and no one dared to break the silence. The atmosphere in the hall was stifling. Lu Yiping reached out and grabbed the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's spatial rings and the Yin Yang furnace. He then threw everything to Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, Wei Bing, and Qin Yongyuan. Even the Yin Yang furnace was given to Zhao Wen. Seeing that Lu Yiping really gave everything to Zhang Jin and the others, including the Yin Yang furnace, everyone's heart was in turmoil. Lu Yiping said to the Big Dipper Emperor Zhou Dingtian, "Today is supposed to be the Big Dipper Empire's celebration, but I ended up staining the hall with blood. I hope Emperor Zhou Dingtian can forgive me." Zhou Dingtian was flattered by Huang Xiaolong's words and quickly waved his hand. "Master Lu is too polite, it's nothing." Master Lu's Zither Immortal's song will definitely become a legend in the Heng Yuan world. It's a blessing for all of us to be able to listen to Zither Immortal Master Lu's song. Lu Yiping smiled at Zhou Dingtian's words. Zhou Dingtian ordered his subordinates to clean up the hall, and the celebration continued. News of Lu Yiping and the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's zither soon spread to the inner hall, the square, and the entire imperial capital. In the imperial capital, the originally bustling streets had quieted down. Although the celebration continued, everyone in the main hall felt as if they were sitting on pins and needles due to the incident with the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan. The experts who had harbored murderous intent towards Lu Yiping like Hao Dan, the young sect master of the Dark Ghost sect, were now sitting there in fear. Even the Wan family's young lord Wan Hong could not suppress the fear in his heart. However, because Lu Yiping did not leave, no one in the hall dared to suggest that they wanted to leave. In the end, the celebration finally ended. Seeing that the celebration was over, even Zhou Dingtian himself heaved a sigh of relief. When Lu Yiping's group left, Zhou Dingtian personally sent them off to the imperial palace's gates. Zhou Dingtian's expression was complicated as he watched the Taurus war chariot disappear into the distance. In his mind, he kept recalling the moment when the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan's head rolled off. He recalled Lu Yiping's sword light. When the Taurus war chariot disappeared, Zhou Dingtian sighed. He suddenly felt like slapping himself in the face. If he had not invited Lu Yiping, the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan would not have happened. Now, the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan was dead. He could already imagine the scene that would shake the world. The Yin ghost sect would definitely send experts or even a large army. Just the thought of the Yin ghost sect's army sent chills down his spine. In the past few hundred years, the Eternal Plane had been relatively peaceful. However, after today, the Eternal Plane would never be peaceful again. After the Big Dipper Empire's celebration, almost all of the experts who had planned to stay in the Big Dipper Empire for a few days left in a hurry. The imperial capital, which had been bustling with activity a day ago, suddenly became much colder. Even the residents of the imperial capital closed their doors. After leaving the imperial capital, the Wan family's young lord Wan Hong and the Wan family's experts stopped at a mountain peak. "Uncle Peng, what realm do you think Lu Yiping is in?" the Wan family's young lord Wan Hong asked an old man next to him. This time, not only had the Yin ghost sect's young lord Hao Dan brought a true god realm expert, but he had also brought the old man next to him, Wan Peng. The old man was a true god realm expert in the early stage. Recalling Lu Ping's sword attack, he was shocked. However, he did not speak for a long time, because he could not tell. Also, how did Lu Yiping learn our Wan family's golden flame divine fist? The Wan family's young lord Wan Hong asked in a deep voice. The Wan family's experts fell silent. "Have you reported this to the Lord Wan family's young lord?" the old man Wan Peng asked seriously. The Wan family's golden flame divine fist, a secret technique, had been learned by an outsider. This was a serious matter. "I've already reported it to my father. I guess he has already entered the ancestral land to report it to my grandfather," the Wan family's young lord Wan Hong said. At this moment, in the ancestral land of the Wan family, the Wan family's young lord, Wan Cheng, was respectfully reporting to Wan Wudi about what had happened in the imperial palace. Lu Yiping's subordinate knows the golden flame divine fist. Wan Wudi was shocked when he heard the report. The golden flame divine fist could only be learned by the Wan family's young lord. Could it be that one of the Wan family's young lords had spread the golden flame divine fist? Chapter 38. This Lu Yiping subordinate not only knows our Wan family's golden flame divine fist, but he also knows Senior Holy Devil and Senior Time's secret arts. Wan Qing said. You're saying that his subordinate also knows the astronomical divine prison fist and time divine fist? Wan Wudi was shocked once again. Wan Qing nodded. Not only that, but Lu Yiping also has the original astronomical divine prison fist and time divine fist. He took out the true copies of the divine fist of astronomical phenomena and the divine fist of time in front of everyone. Hong said that the original astronomical divine prison fist and time divine fist were made of unknown materials. Even he couldn't tell what they were made of. Moreover, the two original astronomical divine prison fist and time divine fist exuded a mysterious power. Wan Wudi was bewildered at Wan Cheng's words. Everyone is saying that this Lu Yiping obtains Senior Holy Devil and Senior Time's treasures. Wan Cheng paused for a moment before continuing. Could it be that Lu Yiping also obtained one of our Wan family's patriarch's treasures? A light flickered in Wan Wudi's eyes. You mean, great-grandfather? The Wan family's second patriarch, Wan Yuji, had mysteriously disappeared in the past. This matter had become the Wan family's mystery. Wan Cheng nodded. Wan Wudi pondered for a moment, then said, Go see this Lu Yiping and invite him to our Wan family. I want to meet this Lu Yiping. No matter what, they had to get to the bottom of this matter. If possible, they had to get the original golden flame divine fist back. They couldn't allow this Lu Yiping's name to spread further and further. But, how should they get it back? Wan Wudi's brows furrowed. Zither Immortal Realm, huh? Wan Wudi muttered to himself. At this time, Hundred Flower Empress Ji Yu and the Hundred Flower Empire's experts were also discussing Lu Yiping. What do you guys think is this Lu Yiping's background? Hundred Flower Empress Ji Yu asked. This Lu Yiping has late-stage True God Realm experts as his subordinates. It's impossible for him to be the nephew of the Netherworld Devil Sect Su Xiu. One of the Hundred Flower Empire's Divine Spirit Realm experts muttered. He wanted to say something, but hesitated. Fear filled his face as he asked, could it be from that place? Then, he pointed to the sky. The expressions of the Hundred Flower Empire's experts changed greatly. Are you saying that he's from the Jyotian continent? Another Divine Spirit Realm expert trembled. Jyotian. Everyone fell silent. Even Flower Empress Ji Yu herself couldn't keep her teacup steady. Jyotian. After a long pause, Hundred Flower Empress Ji Yu said slowly, this is only our guess. Perhaps we are all wrong and he is not from the Jyotian. Everyone nodded. While the various forces were discussing among themselves, Lu Yiping was in Su Xiu's residence, retrieving two godheads from Hao Dan's spatial ring. These two godheads were both high-grade godheads. One was a late-stage true god realm, while the other was a mid-stage true god realm. Lu Yiping sent these two godheads into Wei Bing and Qin Yongyuan's soul seas, then used the Supreme Grand Tao's law to merge the two godheads with their soul seas. At this point, Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, Wei Bing, and Qin Yongyuan all possessed true god realm godheads, becoming true god realm experts. Take out those high-grade spiritual veins and use them to temper your bodies. Lu Yiping said, work hard to cultivate the cultivation technique I passed to you, and break through to the heavenly god realm as soon as possible. Yes, master. Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and Qin Yongyuan knelt. Lu Yiping had the four of them stand up. Rays of divine light flickered on his fingers as strands of heavenly god's law condensed between his fingers. Then, with a tap of his finger, these strands of heavenly god's law entered Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and Qin Yongyuan's soul seas, branding their godheads. These strands of heavenly God's law were something Lu Yiping had comprehended in the past, directly integrating them into their godheads, allowing them to break through to the heavenly God realm in a short time. At this time, Song Ning's voice came from outside. "Young noble, Song Ning requests an audience." "Come in," Lu Yiping said. Song Ning walked in with a slight bow. He stopped in front of Lu Yiping, not daring to breathe too loudly, and spoke respectfully. "Young noble, the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce knows that you will be participating in their auction tomorrow. President Sun Lishuan has sent a high-grade VIP card, and President Sun Lishuan also said that he will be waiting for young noble's arrival." After returning from the Emperor Palace, Song Ning still found it hard to calm down. He wanted to sneak a peek at Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and Qin Yongyuan, but he didn't dare to. Every time he thought of the word, "true God," he felt suffocated. At the celebration banquet, when he found out that Lu Yiping had beheaded the young lord of the Dark Ghost sect, Hao Dan, he trembled uncontrollably. The experts of the Thunder K Sword sect were also trembling uncontrollably. The Lei K Sword School's Grand Elder, who had questioned Lu Yiping on the street, nearly fainted from fright. Lu Yiping received the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's high-grade VIP card and shook his head. "I already have a godhead, so I won't be going to the auction tomorrow." The reason he wanted to participate in the auction was to get godheads for Wei Bing and Qin Yongyuan. Now that both of them had godheads, there was no need for him to go to the auction. Song Ning was astonished, but he cautiously said, "I heard that in tomorrow's auction, other than godheads, there will be many rare treasures. There will also be the ancient sovereign of myriad gods token." "Oh, the sovereign of myriad gods token?" Lu Yiping was astonished. "Yes." Song Ning respectfully said, "Other than the sovereign of myriad gods token, there will also be other ancient treasures." "Other ancient treasures?" Lu Yiping's eyes glimmered. "Do you know what they are?" "I don't know." Song Ning said, "President Sun Lishuan said so." Lu Yiping nodded. "All right, I understand." Then he took out a high-grade spirit vein, sealed it in a circle, and threw it to Song Ning. Song Ning stared blankly at the high-grade spirit vein in front of him, stuttering, "Young noble, this. It's not for you, it's for the Lei K Sword School." Lu Yiping said, "When the time comes, take it back and have Yang Qin place it on the Lei K Sword School's ancestral vein. I see that your Lei K Sword School's ancestral vein is showing signs of decline. With this spirit vein, it should be able to last for a few more years." Song Ning excitedly fell to his knees. "Thank you, young noble." Song Ning thanks young noble on behalf of the Lei K Sword School. Lu Yiping looked at the kneeling Song Ning and sighed. That little fella Yang Dong said the same thing back then. Song Ning was stunned. That little fella Yang Dong. He couldn't describe the shock in his heart. Although he didn't know Lu Yiping's identity, from his words, he could tell that Lu Yiping was in existence even older than their ancestor, sword god Yang Dong. Lu Yiping then gave Song Ning some divine-grade spirit stones. Ever since he knew that Yang Dong might have died in the 9 Ultimate God Burial Formation, he felt that he owed the Lei K Sword School. If he had taught Yang Dong the formation back then, even if Yang Dong was trapped in the 9 Ultimate God Burial Formation, he would have been able to escape. Lu Yiping's expression darkened at the thought of the 9 Ultimate God Burial Formation. Seeing Lu Yiping's darkened expression, Song Ning was so scared that he didn't dare to think about it anymore. Chapter 39. The night was finally over. Lu Yiping rode the Golden Horn War Chariot out of his residence, heading towards the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce. Zhang Jin, Zhao Wen, and the other 3 followed closely behind him. The Golden Horn War Chariot shone brightly under the early morning sun. Originally, there were some passers-by walking along the street, but when they saw the Golden Horn War Chariot, they scattered like birds and beasts, leaving the street empty. Lu Yiping was speechless. Was he that scary? A short while later, the Golden Horn War Chariot arrived at the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce. In front of the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's main entrance, Branch President Sun Lishuan and the Chamber of Commerce's upper echelons were already waiting respectfully. Seeing the Golden Horn War Chariot's arrival, Sun Lishuan hurried forward, cupping his fists. Master Lu's visit to the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce brings light to the Chamber of Commerce. Lu Yiping smiled. President Sun is too polite. President Sun must have been waiting for a long time. Hearing this, Sun Lishuan felt flattered, waving his hand repeatedly. No, we also just came out when we heard that Master Lu was coming. Lu Yiping nodded, then entered the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce with Zhang Jin and the other three under Sun Lishuan's lead. Sun Lishuan smiled, knowing that Master Lu was coming. I had people clear out private room number 1. Lu Yiping smiled hearing this. I heard that Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's private room number 1 is never open to the public. It is reserved for your chief and young lord. Sun Lishuan smiled and said, young Master Lu wants to come to our branch to participate in the auction. I've already reported this to the headquarters, and the headquarters president has personally instructed us to clear out VIP room number 1 for young Master Lu. Lu Yiping smiled, not saying anything. Thus, under Sun Lishuan's lead, Lu Yiping's group entered private room number 1. At this time, inside private room number 2, a young man frowned. Sun Lishuan opened private room number 1 and invited someone in. Yes, young lord, it's that Lu Yiping. The subordinate answered respectfully. Oh, Lu Yiping. The young man swirled the wine in the cup in his hand. The aroma of the wine permeated the air. He smiled and said, is that the kid with the surname Lu who killed Hao Dan? His tone was casual, as if he did not care about Lu Yiping at all. His subordinate said, it's that Lu kid. The young man nodded and suddenly said, I heard that his sword is very fast. I would like to see if his sword is faster or mine. His subordinate laughed and said, in terms of sword Dao, who among the younger generation in the Hengyuan plain can compare to you, young master? The young man smiled. After Lu Yiping and the others arrived at VIP room 1, they sat on the sofa in the center of the room. The sofa was made from the skin of an ancient mutated beast. Moreover, it should have been a true god stage ancient mutated beast. Sitting on it, it was comfortable, soft, and had a faint fragrance that made people feel refreshed. This is the skin of the embellished fragrance beast, Lu Yiping said. Sun Lishuan smiled and said, yes, Master Lu has good eyesight. This embellished fragrance beast is something that many sect leaders do not recognize. Lu Yiping's tone changed. I heard from Song Ning that your auction house is auctioning the token of the Master of Myriad Gods from the ancient times. I wonder if this token was auctioned by someone else, or did your Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce find it? Sun Lishuan hesitated for a moment, then smiled and said, I won't hide it from Master Lu. This Master of Myriad Gods token was auctioned by someone else. However, our Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce does not know who this person is. The other party came here wearing a mask. Oh. Lu Yiping did not bat an eyelid. He did not ask anything else. A while later, Sun Lishuan left the room and told Lu Yiping that if he needed anything, he could ask the steward outside. After Sun Lishuan left, Lu Yiping fell into deep thought. Even he had not been able to find the Master of Myriad Gods token in the battlefield of the gods, so how had this person obtained it? Could this person be a descendant of the Master of Myriad Gods? If this person was not a descendant of the Master of Myriad Gods, then was it possible that this person was a descendant of one of the people who had tried to kill the Master of Myriad Gods? At this time, the various experts who had come to participate in the auction entered one after another. Lu Yiping looked through the glass in front of VIP room 1 and saw a familiar figure. He was somewhat surprised. It was her. The person who had been invited in by the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's steward was the woman from Medicine King Hall, Yuexian, whom he had met in the battlefield of the gods. However, the old man, He Xiao, was nowhere to be seen. Yuexian's arrival caused quite a stir in the auction house. Although the Medicine King Hall's main branch was not located on the Xinwu continent, the Medicine King Hall's influence on the continent was not weak. The Medicine King Hall's pill Tao was something that no other sect could compare to. Even the Wan family and the Big Dipper Empire would sometimes request pills from the Medicine King Hall. Master Lu, the Long family's young master, Long Hengfeng, is outside and wishes to visit you. At this time, the Chamber of Commerce's steward came in and informed Lu Yiping. The Long family was on par with the Wan, Tan, and Lu families. The Long family's main hall was not located on Shinwu continent, but on the Sky Dragon continent. I won't see him. Lu Yiping indifferently replied. The Chamber of Commerce's steward was stunned. Won't see him. However, he quickly reacted and respectfully acknowledged the order before retreating. Outside the door, the imposing young master of the Long family, Long Hengfeng, was wearing a light yellow brocade robe. He held a jade fan in his hand and slowly fanned himself. Behind him were two experts from the Long family. At this time, the doors suddenly opened, and the Chamber of Commerce's steward walked out. Long Hengfeng smiled and asked, Steward Lin, shall I go in now? The Chamber of Commerce's steward stammered, Young Master Long, I'm sorry, but Master Lu says he won't see you. He won't see me. Long Hengfeng was stunned. You told him that I'm the young master of the Long family? He did, the Chamber of Commerce's steward replied. Long Hengfeng's expression turned ugly. After the news of what had happened at Big Dipper Emperor Palace had spread, he had rushed over overnight, but he hadn't expected that Lu Yiping wouldn't even see him. This Lu Yiping is so arrogant. Behind him, one of the experts from the Long family also had a gloomy expression. The Chamber of Commerce's steward didn't know how to respond. He also hadn't expected that Lu Yiping wouldn't even see Long Hengfeng. Another expert from the Long family coldly said to the Chamber of Commerce's steward, Go in and tell him that our young master wants to talk to him about the Gold Flame Divine Fist. Our young master has brought a Sky Dragon bone with him. What, a Sky Dragon bone? The Chamber of Commerce's steward was shocked. Long Hengfeng handed a handful of divine-grade spirit stones to the Chamber of Commerce's steward and said, Tell Lu Yiping that we don't need the Gold Flame Divine Fist. We only want to watch it for one night. After that, the Sky Dragon bone will belong to him. The Chamber of Commerce's steward took the spirit stones and hesitated for a moment before going in to report to Lu Yiping. Sky Dragon bone. Lu Yiping glanced at the Chamber of Commerce's steward. For some reason, the Chamber of Commerce's steward felt goosebumps rising from Lu Yiping's gaze. Not interested. Lu Yiping said indifferently, During the auction, don't come in and disturb me without my permission. Lu Yiping's tone was calm, but the Chamber of Commerce's steward's heart tightened. He hurriedly complied and left the room. When he left, he noticed that his back was drenched in cold sweat. Chapter 40. The Long family's young lord, Long Hengfeng, saw the Chamber of Commerce's steward and asked with a hopeful expression, How did it go? The steward shook his head and hesitated for a moment before answering, Master Lu said he's not interested. Long family's young lord Long Hengfeng's face sank. Let's return to our room first. After a while, he said in a low voice and led the two Long family's experts back to VIP room number 4. After returning to VIP room number 4, one of the Long family's experts asked, Young lord, should we investigate what Lu Yiping wants to buy? Long Hengfeng shook his head, no need. This Lu Yiping won't be arrogant for long. Another Long family's expert sneered, How Dan was killed, the Yin ghost sect won't let him go. However, this Lu Yiping's identity is still a mystery. Some people are saying that he might be from the Jiutian, so the Yin ghost sect won't make a move for now. Once they confirm that he's not from the Jiutian, the Yin ghost sect will send an army to break his bones one by one. Moreover, why does Lu Yiping have Su Xiu's token? Some people suspect that Su Xiu was killed by Lu Yiping, and the Netherworld Devil sect has already started investigating Su Xiu's token. If the Netherworld Devil sect is sure that Su Xiu is dead, they will definitely burn his bones and scatter his ashes. As more and more people entered the auction house, it didn't take long for the auction house to be filled. The auction began. The auctioneer was a high-level appraiser from the secret chamber of commerce, and he was also a divine spirit realm expert. Normally, there would rarely be a divine spirit realm expert presiding over an auction. Only when there was an extremely precious item being auctioned would the auction house let a divine spirit realm expert preside over the auction. The first item to be auctioned was a sword. This sword is called the Azure Rainbow Sword, the sword of the heavenly god Azure Rainbow in ancient times. The auctioneer, Qin Duan, smiled and said, "Heavenly god Azure Rainbow, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this name, right?" The auction house was in an uproar. Heavenly god Azure Rainbow. It was more than familiar. 100,000 years ago, a near-invincible existence, one of the Eternal Origin world's top 10 experts, and hailed as the #1 sword Dao expert. No one expected that the first item to be auctioned would actually be the Azure Rainbow Sword. Even though this Azure Rainbow Sword was a sword that Heavenly Goddess Azure Rainbow had used in her early days, it was still a rare sword. In the past, Empyrean Goddess Green Rainbow often used this sword to practice her sword techniques. Thus, this Green Rainbow Sword contains her unique sword intent. If a sword expert were to buy it and frequently comprehend her sword intent, their sword Dao would definitely advance by leaps and bounds. The host, Chen Rui, smiled. Upon hearing this, Lu Yiping shook his head and smiled. If the way of the sword could advance by leaps and bounds with just a sword, then everyone in the world would be an expert in the way of the sword. The host, Qin Duan, was just deceiving them. However, Qin Duan's deceptive words were quite effective. The following auction was very intense. In the end, it was bought by the leader of the White Flame Sword sect for 200 million high-grade spiritual stones. The White Flame Sword sect was one of the super sects of the Shenwu continent, and its strength was comparable to the Baihua Empire's Yun family. The second item to be auctioned was a cultivation technique called the Kasaya Sutra. It was one of the supreme cultivation techniques of the Fire Dragon Temple. There were many Buddhist sects in the Eternity Plane. The Fire Dragon Temple had once been one of the most powerful Buddhist powers on the Shenwu continent. However, it had been destroyed more than 10,000 years ago. The ones who had taken action at that time had been the Tan family. After the Fire Dragon Temple had been destroyed, many experts had been captured alive and refined into puppets by the Tan family's experts. The Tan family had a puppet that surpassed the Heaven Realm, and it had been refined by the strongest ancestor of the Fire Dragon Temple. In the end, the Kasaya Sutra was bought by Yu Xian of the Medicine King Hall. Lu Yiping was a little surprised, as he hadn't expected that this girl would be interested in a Buddhist cultivation technique. Following this, the third, fourth, and fifth items were auctioned off. Although the items being auctioned off this time were quite good, Lu Yiping only looked at them and didn't bid. More than 20 items were auctioned off in a row. Finally, the auction's 4 finale items were auctioned off. The next item is the token of the Master of Myriad Gods from ancient times. The host, Qin Duan, smiled. At this time, an expert from the secret chamber of commerce walked up with a jade plate. On the jade plate, there was a palm-sized black token. It really was the Myriad Gods token. When Lu Yiping saw the token, he sat up straight. Of course, the Myriad God token wasn't just a token. Inside the token was an ancient formation refined by the Myriad God Master. When facing an enemy, it could be used to attack the enemy. Moreover, the Master of Myriad Gods had built his cave in a mysterious place that no one knew about. But with this Myriad Gods token, one could sense the location of the Master of Myriad Gods cave. Of course, to use this Myriad Gods token, one had to have the strength of the Master of Myriad Gods. With the current strength of the Eternity Plane's people, it was impossible for them to use this Myriad Gods token. Thus, this Myriad Gods token wasn't very useful to the people of the Eternity Plane. In ancient times, this Myriad Gods token could command all the gods in the world. The host, Qin Duan, explained, as for its material, it was forged from the rare divine material, mysterious void iron. Mysterious void iron is the world's toughest divine metal, comparable to chaos iron. Just the material itself is priceless. Furthermore, this myriad god token contains a supreme formation that the master of myriad gods left behind back then. If a formation expert buys it, they might be able to comprehend a supreme formation from it. After 3 to 4 minutes of explanation, the auctioneer began. However, the friend who entrusted us with this myriad gods token said that he only wants divine grade spirit stones. The host, Chin Duan, was a little embarrassed as he said, therefore, the friend who wants to buy the myriad gods token can only use divine grade spirit stones. What, divine grade spirit stones? The crowd was in an uproar. The experts who had originally intended to bid for the myriad god token also frowned upon seeing this. Everyone had divine grade spirit stones, but divine grade spirit stones were scarce. Since the ancient times, every time one was used, there would be one less. Thus, no one was willing to use divine grade spirit stones to trade. Moreover, the friend who entrusted us with this task said that all divine grade spirit stones must be in good condition. The host, Chin Duan, added. When spirit stones were traded for a long time, it was inevitable that there would be signs of wear and tear. Therefore, it was rare for a spirit stone to be in good condition. The starting price of the myriad gods token is 100 million divine grade spirit stones. The host, Chin Duan, added. 100 million divine grade spirit stones. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The White Flame Sword Gate's patriarch shook his head when he heard the price. Not to mention 100 million divine grade spirit stones, he couldn't even take out 100 million top grade spirit stones. 100 million divine grade spirit stones. The Long family's young lord, Long Hengfeng, frowned. He had come here to buy the myriad gods token. However, the price had exceeded his expectations. 200 million divine grade spirit stones. Right at this time, the young man in private room number 2 said slowly. Chapter 41. 200 million divine grade spirit stones. The voice wasn't loud, but it was loud enough to reach everyone's ears. Everyone was stunned as they turned to look at private room number 2. What, 200 million? Even the Long family's young lord Long Hengfeng was shocked. Quickly check who's in private room number 2. He ordered the 2 Long family experts behind him. Both of them complied. Everyone in the hall was shocked by the 200 million divine grade spirit stones. Inside private room number 1, Lu Yiping was also surprised. He glanced at private room number 2 and smiled faintly. Primordial true dragon bloodline? Interesting. At this time, the young man in private room number 2 was drinking the wine provided by the Chamber of Commerce. He smiled faintly. 200 million divine grade spirit stones is enough to shock these country bumpkins. The subordinate behind him laughed. 200 million divine grade spirit stones is nothing to young lord, but to these people, it's not something they can gather even if they sell everything they have. The young man smiled. Although this myriad god token is useless to me, I can still hang it up and admire it after I buy it. Spending 200 million divine grade spirit stones to buy the myriad god token was to hang it up and admire it. Right at this time, an indifferent voice sounded. 1 billion divine grade spirit stones. The moment the voice sounded, the hall that was in an uproar because of the 200 million divine grade spirit stones suddenly quieted down as everyone turned to look at private room number 1 in shock. The one who spoke was none other than Lu Yiping. Inside private room number 2, the young man coughed violently, choking on the wine in his mouth. The Long family's young lord Long Hengfeng was equally shocked. The young man in private room number 2 no longer had the same indifferent smile as before. His voice was low and deep. 1 billion divine grade spirit stones. It's said that this Lu brat obtained the holy demon and Father Time's treasures. Looks like it's true. He looked at private room number 1 with cold eyes. Suddenly, light surged from his body as sword rays shot out. These sword rays turned into divine dragons. Sword of Will. Sword of Heavenly Dragon. These sword dragons were terrifyingly fast. They directly pierced through the restriction between the two rooms and suddenly attacked Lu Yiping. Furthermore, these sword dragons did not cause any spatial fluctuations at all. The people outside actually did not feel the power of the sword dragon. Lu Yiping coldly snorted as he looked at the tens of thousands of sword dragons charging towards him. A formless energy that could destroy the heavens and the earth was born. Instantly, the tens of thousands of sword dragons collapsed. In VIP room number 2, the young man suffered a backlash from the heavenly dragon sword. He felt as if his mind had been struck by a giant hammer. His throat heated up and he spat out a mouthful of golden blood. Then, he sprayed again. He spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood in a row. Young master. His subordinate turned pale with fright. The young man looked at VIP room number 1 with an equally shocked expression. Initially, he was enraged and wanted to use the sword of will to erase Lu Yiping. Who would have thought that this Lu Yiping actually... Lu Yiping said indifferently, "Little guy, if it weren't for your old ancestor, you would already be a dead man. If there is a next time, even your old ancestor won't be able to protect you." Ao Bai was even more shocked hearing Huang Xiaolong's words, "You know my heavenly dragon divine country's old ancestor?" Lu Yiping did not say another word. Impossible, how could he know my heavenly dragon divine country's old ancestor? Ao Bai was bewildered. Their old ancestor had not left the divine country for many years. Even his grandfather hadn't seen their old ancestor for many years. Their old ancestor had been cultivating in the primordial dragon tomb. Even his grandfather wasn't sure if their old ancestor was still alive. "Who are you?" Ao Bai couldn't help asking. "Who am I?" "You can go back and ask your old ancestor," Lu Yiping said nonchalantly. Ao Bai was even more bewildered. He even suspected that this Lu Yiping was playing tricks on him, but looking at Lu Yiping's demeanor, it didn't seem like it. The people outside had no idea what was going on inside the room. After that, no one dared to compete with Lu Yiping. The 10,000 divinity order was won by Lu Yiping. When the divine grade spirit stones were handed over, Lu Yiping flicked his finger, and the divine grade spirit stones flew through the glass in the room, falling onto the auction stage. A divine grade spirit stone was a big piece, each piece was as big as a mountain, and could be cut into 100 million pieces. A total of 10 pieces. However, these 10 pieces of divine grade spirit stones were shrunk to the size of a fist by Lu Yiping. Looking at the 10 pieces of divine grade spirit stones that were as big as a mountain, the shock in everyone's heart was indescribable. These are divine grade origin stones. The white flame sword gate's patriarch's throat trembled. Origin stones were naturally formed stones that had not been cut or processed. Therefore, the spiritual energy contained in them was better preserved. Such a big piece of divine grade origin stone was rare in the world, and its value far exceeded 1 billion. After paying the spirit stones, the Chamber of Commerce presented the 10,000 divinity order to Lu Yiping. Holding the 10,000 divinity order, Lu Yiping's divine sense penetrated the 10,000 divinity order's array core without the slightest hindrance. A moment later, he withdrew his divine sense. As he had expected, the array inside the 10,000 divinity order had not been activated for many years. There were a total of 1,000 layers inside the 10,000 divinity order, and only one person had entered the 300th layer. Next, a piece of stone was auctioned. The stone was as tall as a person. Its surface was bumpy. This stone is also from the ancient era. After absorbing spiritual energy for countless years, a jade essence has been formed inside the stone, and this jade essence has already reached the true God realm. The auctioneer, Qin Duan, said. The crowd was shocked. A true God realm jade essence. In other words, once this jade essence was born, it would be a true God realm expert. However, Lu Yiping was not interested in this stone. In the end, this stone was won by the Long family's young lord, Long Hengfeng. The third item of the auction was a stock of 200,000 years old spiritual herb. 100,000 years old spiritual herbs were rare, but they could be seen occasionally. However, 200,000 years old spiritual herbs were hard to come by. In the end, this stock of 200,000 years old spiritual herb was won by the Medicine King Hal's Uxian. Next up is the last item of the auction. The auctioneer, Qin Duan, said with a smile. When the auctioneer took out a piece of 7-colored jade, Lu Yiping's face sank, and killing intent surged in his eyes. This is the legacy jade? Someone exclaimed in shock. That's right, this is the legacy jade. The auctioneer, Qin Duan, laughed. The Lord of Universe's legacy jade. This legacy jade was actually given to the Lord of Universe by Lu Yiping, and the Lord of Universe refined it into a life divine artifact. The importance of a life divine artifact to the owner went without saying. It was impossible for the Lord of Universe to take out his life divine artifact to auction. Unless the Lord of Universe was already killed by someone, only then would the life divine artifact be taken out for auction. Chapter 42. The Legacy Jade. It's a defensive divine artifact. Moreover, it's a sole defensive divine artifact, a rarity in this world. Moreover, this legacy jade contains a divine art that has been passed down since ancient times. Comprehending and cultivating it, there's a high chance of surpassing the Lord of Heaven and Earth. Host Chen Rui said with a smile. However, the person who commissioned the auction said that this legacy jade will only be sold in divine-grade spirit stones. Just as the auctioneer Chen Rui was about to introduce the Jade of Legacy, Lu Yiping's hand reached out, and the Jade of Legacy on the auction stage flew into private room number 1. Everyone was stunned. Lu Yiping wanted to. Master Lu, isn't this against the rules? Host Chen Rui's smile froze on his face. Lu Yiping's cold voice sounded, who commissioned this legacy jade to be auctioned by your Chamber of Commerce? Although his voice was calm, everyone could feel Lu Yiping's intense killing intent. Host Chen Rui's face sank. Master Lu, are you trying to break our Chamber of Commerce's rules? Although you're our Chamber of Commerce's honored guest, if you break our Chamber of Commerce's rules, then we can only... What? Lu Yiping interrupted coldly. Host Chen Rui choked. Moments later, the Heavenly Secret Chamber of Commerce's branch president, Sun Lishuan, walked over with sweat beading on his forehead. Master Lu. Sun Lishuan pushed open the door and was about to speak when a terrifying devouring force emerged from Lu Yiping's body, pulling him in front of Lu Yiping. Sun Lishuan was aghast. He was an early-stage true God realm expert, yet he was powerless before this terrifying force. He raised his head in fear and saw a flicker of lightning in Lu Yiping's eyes. In the next second, Sun Lishuan lost consciousness. Lu Yiping directly searched Sun Lishuan's soul. Soon, the soul search ended. Lu Yiping's eyes glimmered. From Sun Lishuan's memories, he knew that the person who commissioned this legacy jade and the 10,000 divinity token were the same person, and that person wore a ghost mask. The same person. The 10,000 divinity token. Now, it was the legacy jade. Sun Lishuan quickly regained consciousness. Seeing Lu Yiping's face filled with killing intent, he was alarmed and bewildered. Master Lu, you? He couldn't figure out why Lu Yiping would suddenly have such a strong killing intent after the appearance of the legacy jade. Could it be related to the Lord of Heaven and Earth? However, the Lord of Heaven and Earth was a figure from more than 200,000 years ago. That was 8 years ago. How could Lu Yiping be related to the Lord of Heaven and Earth from 8 years ago? While Sun Lishuan was still in shock, Lu Yiping said to the auction house crowd, I bid 1 billion for the legacy jade, is there anyone willing to bid higher? The experts present looked at each other in dismay. However, he did not make a sound. Lu Yiping flicked his finger, and 10 mountain-sized divine-grade raw stones flew through the glass in the room and landed on the auction stage. Then, he left the secret chamber of commerce with Zhang Jin and the others. Sitting in the war chariot, Lu Yiping tightened his grip on the legacy jade, his killing intent increasing instead of decreasing. Taurus Longjiao looked at the legacy jade, his eyes filled with killing intent as he said, "It seems that those people are really courting death. After so many years, they still haven't given up." Lu Yiping's voice seemed to float out from the depths of hell. "Even if they hide in the Jyotian underworld, or the Holy Land, I will still find them one by one and extract their souls." Taurus Longjiao nodded, then pulled Lu Yiping back to the mansion. Back in the mansion, Lu Yiping suddenly made a grabbing motion toward the void. "Eye of Reincarnation, appear for me." A giant vortex appeared in the void, and at the center of the vortex was an eye that seemed to contain the life and death of all living beings in the world. Lu Yiping reached his hand into the void vortex, as if he was searching for something. After a long time, Lu Yiping stopped. The Eye of Reincarnation and the Eye of Reincarnation disappeared. The killing intent in Lu Yiping's eyes grew stronger. The night passed. Lu Yiping stood outside the pavilion for the entire night. "Master, the Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng outside wants to see you." Zhang Jin came in and said cautiously. Lu Yiping noticed Zhang Jin's choice of words. He didn't ask for an audience, but wanted to see him. "Bring him in." Lu Yiping's voice was calm. Outside the mansion, Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng waited for a while. Seeing that only Zhang Jin came out and Lu Yiping was missing, he frowned. "My master said he can see you. Come with me," Zhang Jin said after coming out. When the Wan clan's patriarch, Wan Cheng, heard this, he felt even more unhappy in his heart. However, he still suppressed the unhappiness in his heart and followed Zhang Jin into the mansion. When he arrived at the courtyard, he saw Lu Yiping. When he saw the blue-robed youth in front of him, he was bewildered. Lu Yiping glanced at Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng and asked, "Why do you want to see me?" "Why?" Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng saw that Lu Yiping didn't even bother with pleasantries and directly asked him what he wanted, and the unhappiness that he had suppressed rose up again. No matter what, he was still the patriarch of the Wan family, and his father was the master of Shinwu continent. The entire continent belonged to his Wan family. This Lu Yiping was actually treating him with such an attitude. "Lu Yiping, how do you know my Wan family's gold flame divine fist? Is the real copy of my Wan clan's golden flame godly fist on you?" Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng asked in a deep voice, "Did you obtain my great-grandfather Wan Yuji's inheritance?" "Wan Yuji?" Lu Yiping's expression was indifferent. "The manual of the gold flame divine fist is indeed on me." He paused for a moment before continuing, "However, who said that the gold flame divine fist belongs to your Wan family?" When Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng heard Lu Yiping say that the gold flame divine fist did not belong to his Wan family, he became even angrier. The entire Hengyuan plain knew that the gold flame divine fist was the Wan family's secret technique. His eyes blazed as he stared at Lu Yiping. "Are you saying that you don't intend to return the gold flame divine fist to my Wan family?" "Return it?" Lu Yiping laughed. "You're right, I've never thought of returning it." The patriarch of the Wan clan, Wan Cheng, was enraged. However, when he saw the 4 people behind Lu Yiping, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "My father wants to invite you to our Wan clan as a guest. He wants to see you." Lu Yiping grunted. "I understand." He then added, "You can go back now." Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng was stunned. What did Lu Yiping mean by this? "When I feel like going to the Wan family, I'll go there," Lu Yiping said. Wan family patriarch Wan Cheng's expression turned ugly. His father, Wan Wudi, the master of Shinwu continent, had sent him over to invite Lu Yiping, but Lu Yiping had actually said that he would go there when he felt like it? Did he mean that it would depend on his father's mood? Was that what he meant? On Shinwu continent, his father's words were the supreme decree, and no one had ever dared to defy him. Even the Big Dipper Empire's emperor, Zhou Dingtian, would immediately rush to the Wan family if his father wanted to see him. Now, Lu Yiping had actually said that he would go there when he felt like it. Chapter 43. Lu Yiping, don't go too far. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, could no longer suppress his anger. He shouted at Lu Yiping, even a godchild from the Jiutian would not dare to be impudent in front of my father. Who do you think you are? What are you thinking? Go to my Wan family again. Do you think my Wan family is a place where you can go whenever you want? The more Wan family's patriarch spoke, the angrier he became. His father, Wan Wudi, was the #1 expert of the Shinwu continent and ranked 4th among the top 10 experts of the Hengyuan plain. Even the founder of the Tai sect and the #1 expert of the Hengyuan plain, Jiang Yu, did not dare to slight his father. Just as the sound of Wan Cheng's voice faded, he suddenly saw a terrifying aura gushing out from Lu Yiping's body. High up in the air, without any warning, thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. The clouds changed color as a destructive might enveloped the entire space, as though doomsday was coming. Wan Cheng turned pale with fright. Scram! Lu Yiping's voice boomed like thunder. Boom! The endless spacetime trembled. Wan Cheng himself was sent flying as if he had been struck by an apocalyptic blow. He crashed outside the mansion, his 7 orifices bleeding. Even his eyes were bleeding. The Wan family's experts guarding outside were shocked and they saw their patriarch fly out with blood flowing out of his orifices. Patriarch! The Wan family's experts panicked. Wan Cheng ignored the bloodstains on his body and looked fearfully in the direction of Lu Yiping's courtyard. What audacity! That Lu Yiping and his subordinates actually dared to attack you. One of the Wan family's ancestors was furious and was about to charge in. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, anxiously pulled back the Wan family's ancestor, exasperated. Stop! The Wan family's experts looked at Wan Cheng, who stammered, I did it myself. He did it himself. Everyone looked at Wan Cheng, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices. Let's go back first. Wan Cheng said. He did not bother to take any pills, nor did he explain further. He just turned and left. The Wan family's experts stared at Wan Cheng's departing figure in astonishment. At this moment, the thunder and lightning in the sky disappeared without a trace. The wind was gentle and the sun was bright. After the Wan family's patriarch Wan Cheng left, Lu Yiping returned to his room and started cultivating the longevity secret art. When the Wan family's patriarch Wan Cheng returned to the Wan family, he went to the ancestral land to see Wan Wudi. He stammered, Father, Lu Yiping said that he can come whenever he wants to. Wan Wudi was surprised, and his eyes turned cold. The Golden Flame Godly Fist manual is indeed on him, but... The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, stammered. But what? Wan Wudi's eyes blazed with golden flames. However, he said that the Golden Flame Godly Fist doesn't belong to our Wan clan. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, lowered his head and said in a low voice, furthermore, he said that he had never thought of returning the manual to our Wan family. Suddenly, an invincible aura erupted from Wan Wudi's body. Affected by Wan Wudi's invincible aura, the Wan family's ancestral land shook. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, retreated in shock. Father, you broke through? Wan Wudi nodded. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, was pleasantly surprised, but when he recalled Lu Yiping's terrifying aura, his heart palpitated with fear. He hesitated, then said, Father, that Lu Yiping is very strong. His strength should be at the heavenly god realm. I'm afraid he's not weaker than you, Father. Wan Wudi was dumbfounded. Heavenly god realm? You're saying that Lu Yiping might be a heavenly god realm expert? He didn't dare to believe it. The Wan family's patriarch, Wan Cheng, recalled the scene and said, I'm not very sure. He then recounted the scene to Wan Wudi in detail. Wan Wudi's eyes widened in shock, and he muttered, "I didn't expect this Lu Yiping to have such strength." Then, he added confidently, "However, there are differences in strength between heavenly god realm experts. Even if he's a heavenly god, I'm confident I can suppress him. When he comes to my Wan family's ancestral land, with the help of the ancestral land's power, suppressing him will be a piece of cake." Several days passed. On this day, a piece of news spread. The Netherworld Devil sect has confirmed that their ancestor Su Xiu is dead. The moment the news came out, it was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. The Netherworld Devil sect's ancestor Su Xiu was dead. And now, Lu Yiping had Su Xiu's token. The Long family's young lord Long Hengfeng sneered when he heard the news. Since it's confirmed that Su Xiu is dead, the Netherworld Devil sect will make a big move soon. The Long family's expert beside him laughed. The Yin Ghost sect's experts are already investigating if he's from the Jiutian. I believe there will be news soon. I heard that the Dark Demon Hall has confirmed that Grand Elder Sword Demon Shi Lai was killed by him. I'm afraid the Dark Demon Hall won't let this matter rest. Netherworld Devil Sect, Yin Ghost Sect, and the Dark Demon Hall. Even the Extreme Celestial Gate would have to retreat. However, we have to find a way to get the Golden Flame Divine Fist Manual before the Netherworld Devil Sect, Yin Ghost Sect, and Dark Demon Hall make a move. The Long family's young lord Long Hengfeng's eyes were deep. The Long family and Wan family were mortal enemies. If they could get their hands on the Golden Flame Divine Fist Manual, it would be of great importance to the Long family. Inside Su Xiu's residence, Lu Yiping frowned. He didn't expect that the masked man who entrusted the Secret Chamber of Commerce to auction the 10,000 Divinity Order and Legacy Jades still hadn't shown up. The masked man didn't come to the Secret Chamber of Commerce to retrieve the Divine Grade Origin Stone. That Divine Grade Origin Stone was branded with his divine sense. As long as the masked man took it away, he would know. However, if the masked man didn't show up, he couldn't just wait here forever. Lu Yiping said to Taurus Longjiao, "Get ready, we're going to the 100 Flower Empire tomorrow." It was time to go to the Soaring Flower Gate to deal with the Azura's Gate. While he was at it, he would also go to the Black Sea Mountain to take a look. The Black Sea Mountain was the old site of the Azura's Gate. As for that masked man, as long as he came to retrieve the Divine Grade Origin Stone, he wouldn't be able to escape. Hearing that Lu Yiping wanted to go to the 100 Flower Empire, Taurus Longjiao grinned, "Master, then we'll pass by the Demon Bull Mountain?" Lu Yiping said in annoyance, "You wish." He was well aware of Taurus Longjiao's cunning mind. The Demon Bull Mountain was the Ox tribe's holy land. As the holy land of the Ox tribe, there were naturally many beautiful Ox tribe women. Considering that they would have to go to the Azura's Gate's old site, Lu Yiping brought Lu Peng and Lu Xiaoyu along. As for Song Ning and the others from the Lei Ke Sword School, they returned to the Lei Ke Sword School after settling the matters in the Big Dipper Imperial capital. Inside the Big Dipper Imperial Palace, Zhou Dingtian breathed out in relief when he heard that Lu Yiping had finally left the Big Dipper Imperial capital. In the past few days, he had been living in fear, afraid that the Yellow Springs Devil Sect and Yin Ghost Sect's armies would come. If the Yellow Springs Devil Sect and Yin Ghost Sect's armies really came, he, the Big Dipper Emperor, would have to pack up and leave. After leaving the Big Dipper Imperial capital, Lu Yiping's group left the Big Dipper Empire without stopping, heading towards the 100 Flower Empire. Several days later, Lu Yiping's group arrived at a barren land. In front of them, there was an endless stretch of dilapidated temples.